Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, TGIF from the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis, where it's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Studios, Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We're coming to you from the Car Shield Studios, and of course the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's podcast is available later. The Air Alliance Team Studio Cam is up and running on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com, type in 101 ESPN STL, and you can click on the old opening drive. Brooke Grimsley is here. Dan McLaughlin is here. Matthew Rocchio is here. I'm Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us. How are we doing, kids?
I'm doing great. It's Friday.
Happy long weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm. Happy Memorial Day early.
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend, and some people take off, but not this show.
Oh,
hell no, we're here.
We're here.
We're here.
Tomorrow, I'm going to get the power washer out, and I'm going to get both grills completely cleaned up for the long weekend.
I have a question, Randy.
Yes, sir.
So how many people are you barbecuing for?
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe half a dozen, cousin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh.
So you need both grills going.
Well, I got a lot of stuff going on.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So what's on the list here for the food?
You know, I haven't really nailed down everything. We're going to definitely have burgers. Mike Johnson from SugarFire and also from Hi-Pointe is going to join us in studio at 8:15. And I'm going to get a little, I'm going to get a suggestion on brisket from Mike. And maybe I'll do a little brisket. We'll find out.
I feel like brisket, I'm told, I haven't cooked a brisket yet, is the hardest, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I want to ask Mike. By the way, if you have a question about what to do in terms of barbecuing this weekend, Mike's got like 7 grills on his back patio. He's a griller. He eats a burger a day, too. I'm very proud of Mike. So he's going to join us at 8:15. And if you have a question, you can text it in, and we'd be more than happy to ask it. We're also going to talk to Jay Delsing. We've got an interview with Ryan Blaney from NASCAR. And we're also going to talk to the offensive coordinator for your St. Louis Battlehawks, Bruce Gradkowski. They take on the Arlington Renegades this weekend, who are 1-7.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
That should be a dub.
Yeah, they should take care of business
Trap
there.
game.
Trap game. Totally trap game. Totally.
As much as you're locked in, too, Rocc.
Yeah.
To the United Football League.
The Renegade, obviously, on defense, you know, they run a good scheme, make it difficult for you. They scheme it up good. And on offense, tell you what they do. They scheme it up.
They have lines on these games, so the interest is somewhat there.
Bob Stoops, man. Sam Bradford isn't walking through that door.
No, he's not.
I forget who is coaching all in the league as well. There's some big names.
But I miss Wade Phillips.
names.
He was around. Wade Phillips was around.
Yeah.
But the Houston franchise now has somebody else that's been around, but it's not Wade Phillips.
He's coaching somewhere, though, right?
He was in the XFL, but I don't know if he's in the UFL.
I thought he was.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
I thought he was. I thought I saw him. I was flipping through, and I thought I saw him on the sidelines, which put a smile on my face.
Yeah. We have...
He took over for Heinz Ward with the Brahmas.
The San Antonio
Brahmas, yeah.
Brahmas?
Heinz Ward was their head coach last year in the XFL, and he's their head coach now.
So he was in Houston. Okay, so Wade was in Houston last year. So he's with the San Antonio Brahmas. That's good, and they're pretty good, apparently.
He's a character.
Oh, yeah, I love Wade.
Got to have characters. I think that's something that the UFL has done, is that you do have some of the coaches, as you said, Brooke, that have big names, have a resume, and kind of make it fun.
His dad was the funniest guy ever.
He was great.
Bum Phillips had
Bum Phillips was
the
awesome.
best lines. Yeah, he was very funny. So we'll talk a little UFL as we go along here. Cards are back in action tonight as they take on the Cubs. Everybody in the division losing again. Everything's fallen the Cardinals' way lately. It's crazy. And the Cardinals take on the Cubs, opener of a 3-game series. And hopefully the Cardinals will be able to maintain their winning ways. So last night, you've got the Pirates falling to the Giants 7-6.
When a Paul Skeens start, too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They were up big in that game.
Yeah, fell apart. The Reds lose to the Padres and Mike Schilt's club 6-4. The Cubs are blanked at Atlanta 3-0 by the Braves. And so the Cardinals, and I don't think the Brewers played last night. So there you've got the division kind of coming back to our Redbirds.
And this is what, at least in my mind, I thought we'd have a lot of teams hovering around 500, and that's what you got. I mean, baseball's so weird, man. you're almost 10 games down and almost 10 games out, and all of a sudden you start winning some games. Other teams lose, like the Cubs. Cubs have lost 5 of 7. They did that on their homestand, and they're just not hitting either. Something to consider when they come into St. Louis tonight. But they were shut out for the 5th time. I was looking in their last 25 games. I wondered, like, how bad is the hitting right now? Now, part of that was that they dealt with injury with some of the guys that they had that you're counting on, like a Cody Bellinger, but shut out for the 5th time in the last 25 games.
And you're going to be facing some good pitching this weekend, but to your point, some of the Cubs pitchers that we will see this weekend, outside of, you know, that rookie that some people know, Shota Imanaga. I don't know if you guys know that name or not, but yeah, he has a .84 ERA. So Shota Imanaga is going to be going tonight, and it will also be Miles Michaelis on the other side. Now it will be Jamison Tyone, and he kind of struggled a little bit recently. And Javier Assad, who has been really good, he still has a 1.70 ERA. He struggled in his last outing, allowing 3 runs on 4 hits and 5 walks while striking out 4 over 4 2/3.
So the Cardinals will have their hands full, especially an offense that, in general, has struggled. But it'll be fun to watch Imanaga. It'll be fun to watch Assad. And, oh, by the way, isn't baseball great the way it just falls into place? The Cardinals are 2 games behind the final wild card spot, which is owned at the moment by Mike Schill's San Diego Padres. So the Cardinals and Padres, if we were closing in on the end of the season, would be battling for a playoff spot.
And San Diego, I don't know when they come into St. Louis. That would be a important series.
Yeah.
As you head, I've always said Memorial Day is when I start evaluating who you are. I think at that point you got a pretty good idea of what kind of team you are, except for the Cardinals this year. I have no idea.
I was going to say, I was like, have you seen enough from the Cardinals to really fully evaluate what you feel about them moving forward this season?
The only thing that really concerns me, guys, is just the starting pitching. You know, they're starting to hit, and this is the offense that they thought that they might have going into the season. They've got 13 home runs in their past 10 games. Didn't see that coming. Nolan Gorman's starting to get hot. You were counting on him. They're winning tight games, which they weren't doing in the beginning of the season. So it's a different feel that you have now as opposed to last year. And the bullpen has been awesome. Right now, the bullpen is 3rd in saves. They're 2nd in holds. And does that hold up? I think that's something that I look at. So will the offense continue? Can the bullpen hold up? And can you get better starting pitching as they move forward?
By the way, Padres in town August 26th through 29th. And to your point, Dan, about Memorial Day, for our great teams here, whether it was 82, and they got going a little, they had a 12-game winning streak early in 82, but mostly 85, 2004, 2011, obviously a lot later. But the great teams, the starting pitching kicks in right around Memorial Day, and you start to get regular 7-inning performances out of your starting rotation. And I don't believe that
I don't see that, though, with this team.
And in this era.
Yeah.
Even the Dodgers aren't going to do that on a regular basis. They aren't going to give their guys. But certainly this group is not going to give you 7 on a regular basis.
And that's why you rely so much on the pen, but the pen is getting used a ton, especially the big 3. And when you use those 3, you better win those games because you're rolling the dice and saying, we're going for it. We're going for the jugular in that particular game that you use the big 3.
And how do you guys feel about Matthew Liberatore going on Saturday? I know we discussed this a little bit, but at the same time, they really don't have any other options at this point.
Do you think Mike or Mo was telling the truth in his interview with Coos when he said that he still thinks that Liberatore can be a front of the rotation starter?
Oh, he did say that, yes.
But
he also said he likes him coming out of the pen. So he kind of made sure to have both of those answers.
Yeah. I was emceeing the Nights of the Cauliflower Ear 2 nights ago, and when I introduced Matthew Liberatore, I said, well, hell, I don't know. Is he a starter? Is he a reliever? I just know he's a tall lefty that pitches in the major leagues. Matthew Liberatore is here tonight, folks, and it was addressed during that they're kind of on the fence, too. You know, they're not sure which direction to go. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but to me, he's a bullpen guy. And as the bullpen may get some cracks in the armor going forward because you're using so many guys so much, he's going to be counted on in that bullpen.
But if he has a 10% chance of being a guy that can make 30 starts a year for you, you got to give him that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean, you need to have you just need starting pitching.
Yeah.
And if he gives you a chance to win, then he's he's flat out in that starting rotation.
Do you think their fear of what happened, what we're seeing currently with Jordan Hicks and how successful he is with the Giants as a starter, maybe is in the back of the Cardinals' mind just a little bit?
It should be in the front of their mind, Brooke.
we keep talking about developing or having just a young pitcher emerge because you keep having to pay for your starting rotation. This is a really expensive starting rotation because you have to go out and pay for these guys rather than developing them. Do you think that is something that is in the back of their mind, or as you said, Randy, front of their mind?
I think it's indictment right now on where they're at with the minor league guys. Now, they're starting to get better starts out of some of the guys that have not been in the major leagues. Velocity has been up, which is something they'll keep an eye on and maybe take a chance and bring somebody up. But you were counting on Zach Thompson. You were counting on maybe Palante, especially coming out of the pen. You thought he could be a middle innings type guy. But the one that's hurt them a lot is Zach Thompson with the reduced velocity and the fact that he's been ineffective. I think that's the one that really hurts, and maybe we don't pay enough attention to what we thought might be with Zach Thompson being in that rotation. Because if you had a bump in the road with Steven Matz, you felt like, okay, we got Zach Thompson, you can throw him in the rotation, but that hasn't played out. So it's of concern for the Cardinals.
You know, Sandy Koufax wasn't great until his 26 year, say age 26. So Matthew still has a few years. Left-handers blossom later. Steve Carlton blossomed later.
He did. He learns a slider though. That helps.
It helps. So Sandy Koufax in his age 23 year had a 4.05 ERA. Okay, he struck out 173 and 153 innings. A little bit different. But he really didn't take off until his age 25 year. So next year will be the year that Matthew Liberatore becomes Sandy Koufax.
I hope that you're making the point, Randy, and you just ended it with me, that Matthew Liberatore is going to turn into Sandy Koufax.
That's what I heard.
I don't think that's going to happen. But what you're saying is that lefties sometimes can get a little better as they move along. That's the way I'm going to take your statement.
And Steve Carlton, by the way, had been great in his ages 23 and 24 season. His age 24 year, he had a 2.17 ERA and a 17-11 record. But then the next year, with the Cardinals, his age 25 season, he led the league in losses with 19.
By the way, go back to his year in Philly.
The 27 and 10.
It may be the most dominating year ever in pitching.
27 and 10 with 1.97 ERA, 346 innings, 310 strikeouts. And oh, by the way, he had 27 wins. His team had 59.
That's it's most amazing stat, along with, I think, Bob Gibson winning 251 games, which is awesome, but 255 complete games. He had more complete games than he had wins.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's the 1.12.
They don't make them like that anymore.
No. Those days are long gone.
Long gone.
Let me see if I can find one other thing here for us before we move on to hockey last night, which was fun. I went to bed, actually, knowing that I had to do this show. I went to bed after the first overtime. Then McDavid scores the first minute of the second overtime.
You wouldn't have done that if the Blues were
I would not
in the playoffs. You wouldn't have gone to sleep, so you can't do that, Randy.
I know I did, though. So Carlton, the team went 29 and 12 in 1972 in his starts. The team won 59 games. He started 29 of their wins.
Is that, to me,
Lord.
It's the most amazing stat in baseball history in terms of pitching?
Yeah.
Even with the 1.12 and even as the numbers that I just gave with Gibson, but that might be the biggest oddity and the biggest story when you look back at pitching. Now, way back when guys were going 9 innings, no matter if their arm was falling off, and I get that, and the amount of innings that they would put up were incredible. But that season that Steve Carlton put up with a team that was awful is amazing.
30 and 85 when he didn't start.
It's unbelievable.
29 and 12 when he did.
Oh, my gosh.
I know we're far away from it. As you mentioned, Dan, we're never going to see anything like that again because you have analytics involved, of course, agents, all the money involved as well. Do you think it would actually be better for baseball, though, when we're talking about growing the audience, if we could somehow at least get a little bit closer back to that?
I think if you could promote starters that were going deep into games, I think you'd have more interest.
When I was
feel
a
like
kid,
people would enjoy that.
When I'm not a young, well, yeah, I was relative to what I am now. I was a youngster, but I'll never forget in '81 going to see Fernando Valenzuela pitch.
I would go see Imanaga pitch tonight.
Yep, and especially though if you had a pitching pairing back in the day. Oh, it's Tudor and Hershiser. We got to go see this. It's Tudor and Gooden. We're getting 55,000 in the old Busch Stadium to see Tudor and Gooden pitch.
Wouldn't you want to go see Paul Skeens right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He's must-watch TV. It feels like every single pitch you have to go and watch him.
He's just blowing guys away, and he's so young, and you heard about him. It was kind of like when Strasburg made his debut. He was another one that you was must-see television, or if he came through town, you wanted to watch.
Might be the biggest victim and the biggest quashing of ticket sales of analytics is that you don't have the great pitching pairing that sells tickets anymore.
I remember, and I've told the story, but Carpenter Clemens going down the stretch in 05.
Oh, yeah.
And both trying to win the Cy Young Award. They were 1 and 2. You could put either one at 1 or 2. And it was a matchup that you had to watch if you were a baseball fan. It was the game of the night, and both were dominant in that game, and it made it fun to watch baseball again.
Yep. It was great. Basketball, Jaylen Brown with 40 last night. Celtics over the Pacers, 126-110. Jason Tatum and the Celtics lead that series 2-0 as it goes back to Indy. And we all saw the Scottie Scheffler video. We can all agree that there was not, at least in our vision, a cop being dragged and his $80 pants being ruined.
Yeah. When the information first came out, I wanted to definitely wait until some video evidence came out to fully react to it, because that was just a very scary situation. The biggest thing is somebody lost their life. A lot of, it seems like, pandemonium. Yes, a lot of pandemonium going on surrounding that scene. But then when you see the video, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
How did the pants get ruined? That's my question.
$80 pants.
Yeah, because
Very
remember,
important.
they said dragged 30 feet. I didn't see exactly when that happened. And the pants somehow were ruined, $80 worth.
Can't even patch them up.
Yeah. How did that happen? Because I didn't see any of that in the video.
Now, in retrospect, I think about his round that day, and it makes it more amazing.
I don't know how he did that.
He was stretching, before that thing and trying to do that in his cell, and then all of a sudden coming out and having to play. It just makes it more amazing.
And watching Get Up, as he is being held, he's watching the story of him being held in jail.
Unreal.
Pretty incredible. So we're off and running here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, there's a lot going on in baseball, and we've got MLB Storylines next on 101 ESPN. got MLB Storylines here on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Dan, and Randy. Brooke, what do you got?
I think one of the biggest storylines right now is yesterday, Rob Manfred, he spoke and had a press conference after the owners' meeting. And then my biggest takeaway is that it seems like robot umpires are going to take a while. Not going to happen next year, because I think that was tentatively the plan, is that we would see robot umpires in 2025. But he's saying that as of right now, they're seeing a lot of technical issues with it in the minors, and he is pushing more for a challenge system, which is something that I was talking about the other day. So how would you guys feel about that, a challenge system before we see these robot umpires?
And I don't think you necessarily need like you have challenge systems on out or safe calls and some of the other ones that are challenged. I don't think you need an umpire to be doing that. Put somebody up in the press box, they take a look at it. It's pretty simple whether or not it's in the box and the rules that pertain to that, and make a quick call and move on with the game. I don't like, though, the fact that it can change a little bit the momentum. It's ball 4. He's running down the line. No, come on back. I don't like that. I saw one time in an automated strike zone in the minor leagues where the ball bounced in front of the plate, catcher caught it knee high, and they called it a strike. And the umpire said, "Those are the rules. What do you want me to do?" And they all laughed about it. But I mean, there are some, to your point, Brooke, I think there's some things that they probably need to tweak on as they move forward.
And the way it works in the minors is they put it up on the scoreboard. It's just like when you're watching tennis, the line call in tennis. They put it up on the scoreboard. Everybody in the stadium can see whether it's a ball or a strike.
Do you guys like, though, the good old-fashioned argument?
I miss the argument. I
do. I think that that's a positive form. I think that you need a human element there. So there has to be some way to really work on this. At first, I kind of am for the challenge system. So he said a handful of times you'd have it in the game. Now, my biggest concern is pace of play, because you just implemented the pitch clock to help with pace of play. So if you have a challenge system where you have that a handful of times, maybe 2-3 times a game, wouldn't that kind of hurt the pace of play that you've worked on?
And Randy, you were saying it takes, 15 seconds?
An average of about 15 seconds to put it up on the board.
Yeah, my concern was pace of play, too. But after you say 15 seconds, I think you can live with that.
15 seconds 3 times. And hell, you're going to use all the challenges up both teams in the first 2 innings when you got Angel Hernandez going.
You probably would.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Competitively, I always think it's fun to watch is when you use your challenges. Do you save those for the end of the game as it maybe gets more competitive? You're anticipating a tight game where every call is so important. But when you use those challenges as part of the strategy.
And a couple of years ago, Greg did a game at AAA, Greg Amsinger, and the managers wouldn't allow the pitchers to challenge because the pitchers are so emotionally invested. They want a cooler head. So I believe it was only the catcher or the manager that they allowed to do the challenge.
And he brought up pitch framing as something that he's hearing from players on feedback about the. Yeah. That's the thing, is he's hearing about that. But I also go back to Zach Thompson specifically. Remember when he was struggling a little bit in the minors last year, he pointed specifically, and he wasn't the only one in the minors that talked about the ABS system or the automated ball and strike system, and there being some issues. So I think it's good that Manfred is listening to these players and what they're saying, but I'm just very curious what they mean exactly are the technical issues here that they're running into.
And by the way, guys, isn't pitch framing also called fooling the umpire?
It is.
Pretty much.
That's gone.
That could go to the wayside.
Yeah.
You know, if you're thinking about what an umpire has to go through and if you're a catcher or you're a front office, you're saying, do I necessarily need a guy that's defense first? Am I just looking for a bat, and that's just a position that he happens to play?
There might have been some thought process for the Cardinals in signing Wilson Contreras.
And that's where I'm going with this. All right, guys, we're talking about pace of play. Game times remain very brisk. They're averaging 2 hours and 36 minutes, and that's in part contributing to increased fan interest. Across the majors, according to this, last weekend games averaged about 35,500 fans. That's way up, and I don't know if it's because of the competition, if it's because pace of play, but I would assume pace of play has a major part into what's happening right now.
If you're going to spend 2.5 rather than 3.5 hours at a ballpark, and how many 3.5-hour games did we see? We're talking about the average going down, but man, we saw a lot of boring 3.5-hour games. The fact that you can go and expect that you're going to be there a maximum of 3 hours makes a big difference to me.
I feel like I noticed the difference when I went. I didn't think that I would the first time when they implemented the pitch clock last year. I didn't think that I would notice the difference. I'm like, come on, this isn't going to be that big of a difference. And then I went to the concession stand, got one of those shack chicken sandwiches, which takes a minute, right? And then I came back, I was like, whoa, we are moving through things quickly here. You kind of have to grab your concessions quickly and get back to your seats. I think it's a good thing for baseball. I'm just curious if a lot of the players, specifically the pitchers, are still for this or not.
I asked Giovanni Gallegos, and he would say, absolutely not. But that was hard to watch him 2 years ago.
He struggled.
Just walk around the mound. Then he gets on the mound. Then he kind of plays with his uniform, and then all of a sudden he steps off. Man, that's not entertaining. You got to make this entertaining.
I wonder how much of that has contributed to his struggles. He's never really pitched great with the pitch clock.
Well, one of the concerns with the pitch clock was that the velocity would be down from relievers. So if you're max effort, you're going to run out of breath, and it's hard. It's a taxing thing that they have to do, and some believe that has led to injuries, but also the fact that relievers aren't throwing as hard doesn't seem to be all that much the case. I think players will always adjust.
Yeah.
If you give them some kind of rules, it may take a week or two, but they adjust.
Yeah. So I like that rule change specifically. I think it's great. It's been great for the game.
I do too.
Guys, we were hoping to get some clarity on the Bally situation next month, but Diamond Sports Group's saga through bankruptcy will now extend into and through July. Their hearing has been moved back from June 18th to July 29th and 30th, according to a notice filed yesterday. The confirmation hearing will essentially determine whether or not Diamond will emerge from Chapter 11, at which point MLB, the NBA, and the NHL might finally gain some clarity on many of their regional sports networks. Now, a representative from Diamond said pushing the hearing back allows them time to negotiate deals with the NBA and the NHL and to provide some financial projections that reflect it being unable to secure a new deal with Comcast. So they don't think they're going to secure a new deal with Comcast. I also heard a rumor that Bally, which really hasn't benefited from the naming rights, is going to be replaced as a naming rights sponsor on the regional sports networks by FanDuel. So it'll be FanDuel Sports Network.
Well, I remember when Bally, when they first took things over, and Dan, you could probably speak to this a little bit better, weren't they supposed to implement like a lot of gambling to their broadcast? And that was one of the big selling points. And I think I remember they did a little bit. I know they have a show about it, but still, like during actual games, there was supposed to be something involved with gambling.
Yeah,
and
we
then it
kind
didn't
of heard
happen.
that. Yeah, we had kind of heard that, and when you put Bally's on there, that's the idea. I would say. Yeah. And now if you put FanDuel. Why should any league worry now about the gambling aspect? If you put FanDuel in the front of that, you're gambling.
Own it.
Yeah.
Just own it, 100%. Rob Manfred said that is what you're talking about, Randy, with Comcast. He said that's probably the number one thing we're worried about right now is availability for our fans, generally speaking, with the television situation, but getting back on Comcast, which so many fans, that's their provider, and they can't watch the games.
Yeah, and I don't know how much MLB has to do with Comcast not being in a contract right now with MLB, but if I'm baseball and I want out of Bally and Diamond Sports, then I'm going to go to Comcast and say, hey, I've got a better deal for you. Just don't work a deal with them.
And Rob Manfred downplayed plans for a nationalized TV package, and he indicated that its viability is contingent on the league inheriting at least half of the team's local rights. So moving forward, that's something to consider.
Yeah, and let's always remember that the Cardinals own 30% of Bally Sports Midwest. So I think our situation is a little bit different here than most situations.
It's a great situation here. I mean, they're making money, and the Blues are an important part of that. Didn't you guys find it interesting with Tom Stillman when we had him in?
Oh, yeah.
That it won't affect payroll. That's part of being an owner, and we're going to have to deal with it as it comes along.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you want another little fun fact, both 4 and 5 apparently interested in the Blues. Channels 4 and 5 on free TV, which would be fun.
There you go.
The old days of Channel 11.
Yeah. Eli Gold, longtime voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, was the voice of the Blues on TV.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and he just retired.
He did, yeah. Touchdown, Alabama.
Yep.
Yeah. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, we're going to talk some golf. Should we do the golf rumor with Jay Delsing or not?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, we'll talk other golf stuff then with Jay Delsing next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals back in action tonight, starting a 3-game series against the Chicago Cubs. 7:15 first pitch, and it'll be the lefty for the Cubs, Shota Imanaga, on the mound, facing off against the righty for the Cardinals, Miles Mikolas. Both Imanaga and Mikolas have pitched 53 innings this season. Imanaga sits with a .84 ERA, Miles Mikolas 5.77. Last night in the NHL, the Oilers over the Canucks in double overtime. McDavid ending it early in the second overtime at 3-2 with that win, and the Celtics taking a 2-0 lead in their conference finals with a 126-110 shellacking of the Indiana Pacers. If you want to hear some NHL hockey right now on 101 ESPN, Rangers and Panthers game 2 pregame starts at 6:30. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
On Sunday mornings from 8 to 10, you'll hear Golf with Jay Delsing and Danny Mack. That's every Sunday morning here on 101 ESPN. And Jay joins us every Friday morning as we look ahead to the golf weekend. And Jay Delsing is with us now on 101 ESPN. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I got to tell you, we've had this lousy weather, and we're all Cardinal fans and everything. And one of the coolest things about a rain delay is getting to listen to some of those old calls by Danny Mack. I love his walk-off calls. They were great, man.
He sounds like a guy that you host a show with, buttering you up.
No, those were fun. Those were great. That's always fun. You're right. That rain delay theater is fantastic, Jay. No doubt about it. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I mean, we got to give Danny Mack some love.
I appreciate it, Jay, but we have you on to talk golf, so let's talk golf.
And, Jay, last week, I said on the show before the PGA, I said, really, the 4 guys that the PGA Tour misses that went to live, we don't really miss Phil Mickelson anymore. We miss Bryson DeChambeau. Do you?
I love Phil.
He just can't play anymore.
He can't play anymore.
No, but we miss Rahm, DeChambeau, Koepka, and Reed. And I thought it was interesting that Patty Harrington said this week, he said, God, we miss Bryson. And he said they also miss Patrick Reed. But do you agree with me that the other guys that left for live, even though they're great golfers, they really aren't guys that move the needle? Would you agree with me that those 4 guys, and if you want to throw Phil in there, let's make it 5, but out of all of those guys that left for live, there's very few that move the needle?
No, you're right. They do move the needle. They don't move the needle. And, we said on the show a couple weeks ago that I was just really surprised to watch Dustin Johnson just kind of fade into oblivion in the golf world, because he's got that sort of game when he is even remotely on, he dominates. And I also expected to see a lot more out of Cameron Smith. But you know what, you guys, when you take this money and then you completely change the way that you're used to competing, it's got to affect you. These guys are getting chubby. Their wallets are fat. They're only playing 3 rounds of golf. It's just weird. It's gotta affect them. And Bryson is the most active. He probably plays the most golf of any of those guys out there. His YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys have seen his YouTube channel, but it's so entertaining. And he's also changing. He kind of got this villain label, and he's really a nice kid. When I did the Fox broadcast, and I had him at Oakmont for the U.S. Open, he came up to me at the beginning of the day and took his hat off and said, "Hey, Mr. Delsing, I know you're going with us today. If you need any information from me on the course, I'll give it to you." And then I had Bubba Watson, who wouldn't talk to us. You know what I mean? So it's just the entire persona is just odd. But what Bryson did down at Valhalla was spectacular. I thought that he was very much a showman. His game was right there, and then he showed a lot of class by being the first to shake Schauffele's hand after losing.
Yeah, and he also showed a lot of class in that moment. Did you see that video where he was trying to toss a ball to a young fan, and then an older guy intercepted it, and he made sure that he got it back to the young fan?
I did, and Brooke, those are the kind of things that go on all the time with some of these guys that don't that kind of stuff doesn't play in our world anymore. You know what I mean? If you're not, getting arrested or doing something else, you don't get clicks. And so I thought it was awesome because Bryson screamed at this guy, "Hey," like, I don't know, 10 or 15 times until He absolutely embarrassed this older guy, and the older guy walked back and gave the ball to this little kid.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic.
No, I'm with you. I think that Bryson, especially last week with the way everything went, I think that he has gone from that villain role to more people like him. And you mentioned arrests. The video came out. What did you think of the video with Scottie Scheffler?
I can't believe this is going on. I don't know. Maybe they didn't show the part where he was dragged, but I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
I just can't figure it out. So I was talking to a police officer friend of mine, and I said, what is up with, why would they, do the jumpsuit thing? Why would they? And he said he doesn't think that the police department in Louisville actually put him in a jumpsuit. He thinks that when they take a mugshot, they have this app sort of thing that puts their collar and everything below in orange so that everybody looks the same. So sometimes they'll have to do photo lineups so they don't actually – because, guys, I was running through this in my mind. I'm like, holy smokes, you arrested him. You're driving him downtown. You're putting him in jail. You're also putting him in a jumpsuit. I mean, it was the full treatment, and it made me think, man, are they trying to cover their rear ends here? Are they really, is this really serious? And I can't think of how this could possibly play out well for the Louisville police. I can't see it.
Jay, I want to ask you, going back to Xander Schauffele winning the PGA, and Victor Hovland was very close to winning his first major. Is he now the guy that takes the title from Schauffele, where you say he's the best player that hasn't won a major?
I think so, Danny. I think that's a good call. But here's what's interesting about Victor Hovland, you guys. He was minutes away from withdrawing at the PGA Championship because his game has been so lousy. He's been flipping back and forth between swing coaches, and he's been missing cuts, and he's been embarrassed. And he said, I was this far from, not playing because my game is so bad. And with a couple of putts here and there, he wins that championship and also record-setting fashion. You guys got to remember, no one's ever gotten a 21 under par in a major championship before. So Schauffele did it in really great fashion.
And so next month we've got the U.S. Open, and it seems like, Jay, we talked last year about the lack of brand names on the PGA Tour. Now that you have Wyndham Clark and his success, and you have Xander Schauffele winning a major, and you've got Morikawa, and obviously you've got Scheffler, it seems like those brand names that maybe we weren't seeing them at the beginning of the season, were we? But they're all front and center right now.
Yeah, they are, Randy, and it's great because the game needs it. With all of this craziness with elevated events, purse, and the talk about money, I really love the fact that we're getting back to playing and letting some of the great players, perform and let their golf do the talking. We just got to get past this, and it doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon. But I got to tell you what the PGA of America and the PGA Championship did so well is they united golf again. They've been the leaders. They've been doing the right thing for so long. And they invited every significant golfer that should have been in there, even Louis Oosthuizen, who happened to turn it down because of some other commitment. But you start thinking about the drama that these guys are throwing out there, like a Taylor Gooch. Where was Taylor? He got to play. I mean, he's talking about there needs to be an asterisk in the major championships because not all the best players, aren't playing in them. He got to play, and he's not even part of the scenario. So I'm just looking for a time where we can get some of the players to shut up a little bit and play more.
And by the way, I mentioned the U.S. Open. It's at Pinehurst this year. Seems to me that if you're going to pick a site, whether it's PGA or U.S. Open, one of the championships in our country that moves around, Pinehurst is probably, top 5 in terms of sites for those?
It really is, Randy. It's got great history. It's just all golf. And it's one of the most unique golf courses you'll ever see because you'll walk around there and you'll go, what is so hard about this? And then they make the greens a little firmer and then a little faster, and then all of a sudden you get out there and your ball won't ever stay on the greens. I've heard the greens likened to German army helmets, where they're just, there's so little room for the ball to stop on. And so last time we were there, Martin Keimer won going away. And one of the things that you'll see down at Pinehurst is all of these sandy conditions around the greens that you got to try to figure out. Do I putt it? Do I chip it? And Martin Keimer did a lot of putting and a lot of use of his hybrid around the greens and did it, obviously way better than anybody else.
For golf fans that are watching this weekend, Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas, what stands out, Jay, from your perspective about this event?
It's the golf course is called Hogan's Alley, Danny. So it was one of the things that, as a player, it was really kind of cool to be able to put your name on that trophy. It's a par 70, so we don't see a lot of par 70 golf courses. And they just redesigned it. Gil Hands, who is getting a lot of national acclaim for redoing a lot of great venues, did the redo. I have not played it since they redid it, but heard really, really great things about it. So the thing that stuck out to me was Scottie Scheffler actually, showing a little human side where he shot another round over par. The third round of the PGA Championship was his first round over par in 41 tournament rounds. And yesterday he was cruising around at 2 under par and hit it in the water, made triple bogey on the shortest hole in the golf course, number 13, the par 3. So it's an interesting golf course. There are certain players that play it extremely well, like Jordan Spieth, but I think guys like Brian Harmon. There was another player that Danny, you and I were talking about yesterday that to look for to win there if you wanted to place a bet on it, because it's just a really, really good track for. You don't have to be exceptionally long. You don't need to be a bomber to win down there.
Hey, Jay, who do you and Danny have on the show this week?
Randy, we've got Kevin Korn, who, first of all, is a great guy. He is the head pro out at Innsbruck. And what Kevin does every Wednesday on his own dime and his own time is he goes to Rankin Jordan, the pediatric bridge hospital over off of Dorset, and he takes golf to these sick kids. And I've gone over there with him on a Wednesday, and guys, it is super awesome. It is to see these kids smile and to brighten their day a little bit by letting them hit something. And Kevin even said, a lot of times they just try to hit me. They try to hit a ball and try to hit him. So it's just he's a great guy, and he's been doing this for 13 years, and it's just a great story. And another, that hospital is a great part of our community. It's one of the things we all hope we never personally need, but we're so glad we have it.
That's so great, and we could use more Korn, way more Kevin Korn type people. That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's kids in wheelchairs. It's kids that have graduated towards high school. They couldn't walk when they were little kids. I mean, it's an amazing story.
It really is.
Great. Thank you, Jay. Good to have you with us, and we'll be tuned in on Sunday. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You guys too. Enjoy that. Get those grills fired up, Randy. I want a full report. I know you're going to kill it over there.
I will give you a scouting report. Absolutely. We'll see you later. That's Jay Delsing with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646 314-399. Yo-ho!
All right, let me ask you guys this. In a holiday weekend, do I get reprieve on this?
If you want reprieve.
Really?
No.
You're going to do that?
If you want reprieve on a holiday weekend, Dan, you can have it.
Randy, come on. United Front here.
Okay, no, you don't get a reprieve.
Yo-ho.
You see? This is why we push him to do
It
it,
sounded
Randy.
like you enjoy it a little bit.
I'm starting to sing now.
TIOLI next time, 101 ESPN.
it or leave it.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Text line open 314-399-9646. 314-399-YO-HO. Thanks, Brooke. Good job.
I was there. It was just very soft.
It was very
I
subtle.
promise.
It was very subtle.
Oh, don't be so bitter.
I'm not bitter. Guys,
He called me out, didn't he?
no, I
Dan?
sure did.
Yeah.
Bitter Bob over here.
Yeah, totally. Well, if people are watching on the YouTube, they get it. They see. They're bitter, too. So
It's just calling everybody
guys,
out.
former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown, despite making $88 million in his career, has filed for bankruptcy. Take it or leave it. This is the least surprising athlete going broke story ever.
Oh, I'm going to take it. Didn't he also start his rap career? He has a lot of different ventures going on.
Yeah.
Now, his social media, that's something.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on there.
That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah.
You know what a rap career is when you have that much money? A good way to lose $500 an hour in studio time.
That's what I'm saying is that I think that probably was one of the many things that happened there.
But at $88 million with $500 studio time, you still probably can afford it.
Well, the music videos.
I'm saying some people around. It's one example of many ways that people around him found ways to eat into that $88 million for their own benefit. Is my point. One of his friends said, "I got a studio. I'll charge you $1,500 to for a couple hours of use." But hey,
have you guys seen the 30 for 30 broke?
Mm-hmm, I have.
Yeah.
Some amazing stories in that.
Antonio Brown with hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit card bills. $3 million in debts to a truck driver in Florida who was beaten by Brown. How'd you like to? That's a tough way to earn money. Truck driver was one of Brown's largest debtors after the court granted him a $1.2 million settlement after Brown beat him up. So, so Antonio filing for bankruptcy, and I, for one, am not surprised.
No, not whatsoever. I'm not surprised. I always hate those stories too, but at the same time, what can you do? I mean,
they are kind of sad.
They are, yeah, because it goes another way. So take it or leave it, guys. After having Stillman in studio, the Blues will make a splashy move this offseason.
I'm going to leave that. I don't think they do. And the one that would be splashy for me is to trade either Bennington or Buchnevich. Those are the ones that come to mind.
What
I
about
could be missing.
Thomas or Kyrou?
Oh, I don't think they go anywhere. I don't. I think they have bought into Jordan Kyrou, and Robert Thomas isn't going anywhere. That's just my opinion.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to say that they do make the splash move, that they surprise us all. It's going to be fun.
I know. I heard you yesterday, Randy, when you said you heard rumblings.
Rumbling. The streets are talking.
But even
really?
that JR, because JR said that Tom Stillman, when he had that conversation, which you can read that article in The Athletic, it sounds like maybe something could be happening or maybe something's already in the works.
How about this? In baseball, Luis Ariz has 16 hits since Sunday. Joey Gallo has 16 hits since August of 23.
Wow.
So take it or leave it. We truly miss the bat-to-ball hitter.
I will take that. Yeah.
Yeah, take that.
I mean, Luis Ariz, when he's up, I watch. And I know he's probably not going to hit a home run. He may get a double, but for the most part, he's choking up, slapping the ball somewhere. I love watching that.
I do too, and this is why analytics suck, because analytics people don't like him at all. He doesn't walk enough for them. All he does is hit. And they don't. It's crazy to me. He's a good player that you can win with, but for whatever. Well, I know what the reasons are, but the analytics folks think that they don't want him on their team. And granted, he is a one-tool player, right? He can hit, but he doesn't hit for power. He doesn't run, doesn't field particularly well, doesn't throw particularly well. But man, that one tool that he has, if he's a one-trick pony, that's a pony you want because the trick's pretty good.
Isn't the idea to get on base?
Yeah.
I don't care how you do it, just get on base.
And Mike Schilt likes him.
Absolutely.
All right, Matthew, what do you got on the text line there?
Take it or leave it. The switch from the NCAA not letting schools buy lunches for athletes to now paying them is one of the biggest 180 turnarounds in sports history.
I'm going to take that.
Yeah, take it.
Yeah, what a change. That's what happens when you're trying to stay relevant.
Right. And here's the thing. If they play their cards smartly, and the schools generally are pretty smart, now that you can give a player a 3-year contract, there goes the transfer portal.
I also think it'll go down May 23rd, yesterday, of 2024 is the most significant day in college sports history.
Right.
You have $2.75 billion going to former athletes, and that's going to get dispersed. And then you have conferences that can revenue share now. So, it's a dramatic shift in what we used to see.
Yeah. I don't see why we call them college sports anymore.
No.
It's not.
No.
It's semi-pro.
Yeah.
Good. Take it or leave it. Caleb Williams breaks the rookie record for passing yards, currently held by Andrew Luck.
Leave it.
I'm gonna leave that.
I'm going to leave that. Did you hear how he was doing yesterday? 7-on-7. He's throwing it all over the place, like 3 completions, almost a couple of interceptions. He was not good in his debut on 7-on-7.
Right. Do they still play home games in Chicago in December?
Gets a little chilly.
Yeah, he's not going to break that record.
Okay. That's another great reason as to why.
What does weather have to do with Andrew Luck's record, Randy? I'm confused.
He was playing in a dome, and he had great receivers.
When has that ever helped?
And where has Caleb Williams been playing at in college?
He was in.
Give me one
Oklahoma or
example of a
California.
30-mile radius where a dome's helped an offense. Take it or leave it. It's not too soon to start having hope for the Cardinals season based on recent results.
Leave it.
Take that.
I'm gonna take it. So you're not bought in on this, Randy?
I think they're under 500.
Yeah, they are. Okay.
Playing better, though.
They're playing better. Yeah. Every team is going to have its little run during a season. Every team.
I mean, they haven't figured out the 5th starter or anything, but I don't know why you're being so negative about this, Randy.
I'm not being negative. No, I thought before the season, hey, if they play 3 over for the rest of the year, they'll be exactly where I thought they would be at the beginning of the season.
I think with the offense, what it's doing, it gives you hope. I mean, it's not like they're getting blown out of games, and maybe this is who they are supposed to be. My concern, though, is still with the starting staff. And, Michael is going tonight, ERA near 6. You got Liberatore going Saturday. I think you feel great about Sonny Gray's start. You feel like you're going to have a shot to win, but that starting rotation is very questionable at this point.
There's only so many times Ollie can get thrown out, too.
There's to rally the troops. Yep. I will say it is at least better to watch. Can we at least say that the Cardinals are at least better to watch? Now with Sonny Gray, I do still have some concerns about his last outing. I know that it was really good that he knows his body and knows that that was a situation he was gassed in and he didn't have anything left to give, but still kind of a little worrisome when he dealt with some injuries earlier on in the season. I don't think anything exactly is going on because they're not saying that, so I'm not saying that's what's happening there, but in that moment, you do start to worry just a tad bit.
I'm with you. I was concerned as much as he is a competitor and the fact that it's tough to take the ball away from a starter, he is the last guy I thought that would happen to. So is there something underlying that maybe we don't know? And again, we don't know it. It may be just a simple situation where he said, I'm gassed and I need to come out of the game.
Well, they had that long road trip. He'll be fine, though. Yeah.
Dan, I could see him over in the corner, and I knew that he was getting fired up for something.
Well, he doesn't pay attention, and he just goes right to his sound machine and then sets it up and then does what he does.
So, if they had one of these with the Levitard show, you know what it would be.
Miami sound machine?
It would be a Miami sound machine.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the Cardinals win tonight, they will be 24-26 through 50 games.
All right.
Since 1995, 27 teams have made the playoffs starting 24-26. 27 teams since 1995. That's 27 teams at about 300 total playoff teams since 95. So you're looking at about a 9% chance to make the playoffs still.
I would wonder, though, of those 27 teams, how bad of a division were they in? Good point. This is a 500 division, more than likely.
To your point, about half of them ended up winning their division.
But I'm talking about how competitive the division is.
None of them won more than, I think the highest win total on any of these teams is like 95.
Yeah.
So there's a ceiling, obviously, when you start like this.
Sure. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you very much for your text. We do appreciate them. Coming up, was Brooke right? Did the Cardinals miss out on a starting pitcher they should have had? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
perspective on today's top stories. This is Fresh Take.
Presented by Lindenwood University. Real experience, real success.
Five in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke, Dan, Randy, and Matthew. And it became pretty apparent last offseason, early on, that the Cardinals would not be able to afford Yoshi Yamamoto. And he was interested in going to a big market team. And as you know, he landed with the Dodgers for $325 million. But throughout the course of the offseason, Brooke was clamoring for the Cardinals to get another Japanese starter. Who did you want them to get, Brooke?
I don't know if you guys have heard of him here recently, but Shota Imanaga, that was a Japanese pitcher that I was very interested in because I knew that he would be closer to their price range. Of course, Yamamoto is a little bit younger, and we knew that he was going to be very expensive, and he's with the Dodgers now. But I figured that Shota Imanaga at 30 years old could be a little bit more of a value pick and in their price range. Now, I do understand with this deal that he signed with the Cubs, 4 years, $53 million. That would be in their price range. And I will say that I think a lot of it does have to do with the Japanese pitchers and players, where they wanted to go and what deal that they're willing to take. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it, as he took that deal because he wanted to be with the Cubs in that situation.
He's going tonight, and sure, he wanted to be with the Cubs, but if the Cardinals do go a little bit more, they gave Sonny Gray 75 over 3. He got 53 plus a $10 million posting fee over 4 from the Cubs. So should the Cardinals have gone a little bit more? What sort of statistics has he put up? Has he been any good?
A .84 ERA currently. He tossed 7 shutout innings the other day, and the 1-0 win over the Pirates. And he has faced 9 different teams this season, and nobody has really been able to figure him out.
Don't you think, though, at the time when they're making this decision, that Gray was more of a given? I mean,
yes.
you pretty much knew what you're going to get with him, and it could be risky with all the money that they've invested in the rotation, and it hasn't worked out for some of these guys this year. But to me, you had more of a given with Sonny Gray than you did, and you had to pay more. I get it. You probably you gave the number, $25 million more, excluding the posting fee. But
Dan, I wanted them both.
That's what I was going to say. Is I wanted both of them.
And I shouldn't say Brooke wanted them both. I just thought the Cardinals, and my guy was Cease, right? I just think the Cardinals needed to utilize assets to get another front of the rotation starter.
I think that's fair. Yeah, with what we saw last year with the rotation, 2 frontline guys, 1 or 2, 2 and 1, whatever you want to look at it, would look a lot better than what you got right now, because look at what's happening tonight. Michaelis has not been as effective as you thought, and then Liberatore has been thrust into the second spot, so you would have covered yourself and hedged your bets a little bit better, because they tried to hedge their bets last year and it didn't work out.
Yeah, and the thing is that that's what I just felt. I knew that they would need pitching this offseason, and that's what Mo said, is that they were going to get pitching, and more pitching, which they did. I just felt like they needed another frontline starter to add to the starting rotation, because after Miles Michaelis struggled last year, you have to worry as he gets older that would continue. And as you mentioned, he's off to a 5.77 ERA start this season, so that's not exactly great in this situation. I just felt like Shota Imanaga, it made sense because it's 4 years. It's something that you could have worked out to have your rotation, because I mean, pitching wise, we already knew that developing pitching has been an issue for the Cardinals. And don't you think that if they knew that some of these younger guys were ready, we would have seen them towards the end of last season? I know that Graceffo dealt with an injury, but still, if they're ready to go, then we probably would have known that.
Yeah, you're right about that. Here's another thing about the Japanese starter. I don't think that we should question those guys anymore. It used to be that if they came over, it was like when Hideki Arabu came over, and he was hyped. He was supposed to be the Japanese Roger Clemens. He was okay. He wasn't great. But Daisuke had one good year and then got hurt, and he was never really the same. It seems now that they have figured out in Japan how to get their players to pitch at a major league level.
I also think analytics is a part of this. As we go further down that road and seeing more video, having scouts over in Japan, they can project how guys are going to be for the most part. I mean, that's why you give Yamamoto over $300 million. That's why you give Imanaga the money that he got, or Imanaga, excuse me. And I do think that when you look at analytics, spin rates, what you're seeing with that can project to Major League Baseball. And so give the Cubs credit. It's a good signing. Now, we'll have to see if it continues. Let him get, one time through the league or give him a full year. And does that continue? Is there still success, which the verdict is still out.
And oh, by the way, Miles Mikolas was great in his first year coming over from Japan.
Yes.
Right? So to your point, Dan, wait until the more evidence is in. But boy, would we like to have that guy right now.
Oh, 100%. I think every single team is wishing, because to me, he was the best acquisition this offseason. When you're talking about just overall value with results that you're getting right now, return on investment, I think 100% that he is the best right now and will likely be, National League Rookie of the Year, which is weird, isn't it?
It's Yamamoto could be too.
Yeah.
And these guys have been around,
Should
really
they be considered rookies?
I don't think so. I don't.
I know they're new to the league, but they've been around.
The experience that they have, it's a great question. I've always kind of been on the fence with this. I don't think that they should. They've been around in professional baseball and putting up numbers, but you know what? The big leagues are different than other leagues, so maybe give them more credit than we're giving them in terms of being a Rookie of the Year. New league, new, society changes for them, and they have to come overseas, dealing with that. So there's a lot that goes into it when you sign somebody from Japan.
By the way, one other thing we should note about the Cubs is that they haven't gotten work out of Justin Steele. He won 16 games last year, and he was really good for them, and they're going to get Justin Steele back pretty quickly. So when you can add him to Assad and Imanaga and what they've gotten out of Tyon so far, that's going to wind up being a pretty good rotation that the Cubs have.
Yeah, it's a pretty good rotation they have. And Kyle Hendricks, by the way, for those who are maybe hoping to see him this weekend, because he was a starter. As we know, he's been struggling with the ERA over 10. He had a rough outing last night, so he's also struggling as of right now in the bullpen as well. So
the Cubs pitching has been very good coming into this series. Now, can they hit? Can the Cardinals pitching keep them going in terms of the Cubs on a downward turn? Shut out for the fifth time in the past 25 games yesterday and lost 5 of 7 on their homestand. So some questions about their offense coming into the series this weekend.
Yep. Dan, Brooke, Randy, it is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's the first big barbecuing weekend of the holidays during the summer. And our buddy Mike Johnson from SugarFire and from Hi-Pointe is here. He's going to join us in studio, and he's going to answer your barbecuing questions next on 101 ESPN. weekend. It is the first big barbecuing holiday of the three during the summer: Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. Brooke Grimsley, Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker, and our friend Mike Johnson, the chef from SugarFire and from Hi-Pointe and from Chicken Out and now from Hot Pizza Cold Beer, joins us in the studio. Michael, always good to see you. How you doing?
Great.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're always thrilled. I want to start with this because there are people that are going to do pizza during the course of the weekend. Tell us about Hot Pizza Cold Beer.
We opened a pizza place on Wash Ave across from SugarFire, and it's more like a New York-style pizza. Mm-hmm. And it's doing really good. We got the pizza dialed in. It took a couple months to figure it out. I thought pizza was going to be easy, but it's not. The dough's temperamental and stuff, and it's like it was hard, but pizza's awesome.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. Head on over to Wash Ave and Hot Pizza Cold Beer. Okay,
yeah.
You mentioned temperamental and difficult. You brought some brisket in, and I told the guys before you came in, I want to ask you about doing brisket on my Traeger. Is that the place to do it, and how should I do it?
I love it on a Traeger.
Okay.
Yeah. If I was doing it at home, I'd probably when I'm doing it on Traegers, I use Green Mountain grills. Mm-hmm. Same thing, but I have a couple at home. And I wrap at home, so I'll smoke it to like 165, 170, and I'll put it in foil really tight with some beef stock. And that's it, like a cup of beef stock. Wrap it tight and then let it go to about 205.
Okay.
Slow, 250, 275.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simple enough.
That's how you keep it moist.
275 up to 165.
I don't go over 300.
Okay.
You got to push it a little bit. If you're running late, you can push it a little bit.
Yeah, but for the entire process, up to 165 internal and then up to 205 internal.
I always pull at 205.
Okay, good.
That's my money spot right there for really tender brisket.
Okay, I'll do that this
That sounds good. So for people who might be a little bit newer to grilling, I'm talking about myself here, what would be the easiest thing this weekend to grill up?
I don't know, man. A burger, probably. I don't know. I love grilling a burger.
Yeah.
Some people don't like grilling burgers. I love a grilled burger.
So the 314 is asking, smoking STL, St. Louis style ribs, and wondering if wrapping in foil the last couple of hours is cheating or recommended.
I don't do it at the restaurant because we don't have time, but it probably makes it juicier. It does. And I was at Memphis in May last weekend, like the World Barbecue Championship, and everybody there is wrapping.
Really?
So everybody, you can't not wrap.
Okay.
You got to wrap. So it's there's a 3-2-1 method, I think, 3 hours on the smoke at 225, and then 2 hours wrapped, and then 1 hour like kind of resting.
Okay.
So if you Google 3-2-1 method of ribs, it's pretty good.
So, Mike, you mentioned a burger. I'm a devotee of Hi-Pointe.
That's French.
Yes. Yeah, right. But I have the Weber griddle that I can put on my Weber, or I can do it on the grate. What do you prefer, and what's the best way to go about it?
Depends on what I'm in the mood for. I get sick of smash burgers sometimes, honestly.
Okay.
And I love to put it on the charcoal on the grate, but you just got to be careful it doesn't drip too much and burn it. Mm-hmm. So I kind of put my charcoal on half the grill, and just kind of do it on the half that's not doesn't have the heat underneath it. So if it drips a lot, it won't like splash up and make it burnt.
Okay, so indirect.
Indirect,
and then,
indirect.
And then in terms of, again, internal temperature for a burger.
I mean, I do my burgers medium.
Okay.
So, and I don't think I've ever really temped a burger. I don't know. Do you guys temp them with it?
No. Just
No.
let it
I just
roll.
take, like, when I'm cooking for a bunch of people, I ask their temps what they want, and then I just cook it all the same.
That's a good idea. One other thing, and you came on, and I still have the email that I wrote to myself for the perfect burger, but you told me about the meat, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the key. Tell people that didn't hear that or don't know what and it's, boy, you talk about a difference maker. The meat for the best burger.
It's half chuck, that's the body. Mm-hmm. It's 25% brisket, that's the fat, and 25% short rib meat, and that's the beefy flavor. Because you eat a beef short rib, it's like super beef. It's like not like anything else in the cow. And so it's those three things, and you can go to a butcher and they'll do that. But that's the blend you want,
and it really makes all the difference in the world, and it doesn't shrink. That's the other part of it. When you put it on the
if you
grill,
stick with like 85-15 is what our wheelhouse is for the fat ratio. Mm-hmm. And it should stay there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds so good. Now I'm getting super hungry.
Yeah, I'm actually going to Brazil. Someone's flying me to Brazil next weekend to cook a burger.
Oh, no seriously?
Yeah, and it's weird because it's for the taste of Sao Paulo. I do some barbecue stuff there a lot, and that's where I met these guys. But they said, "Do you want to cook a burger this day?" I said, "Yes." They bought me a ticket. They're flying me down like Friday night. I leave St. Louis at like 8 o'clock. And they put me to come back Sunday at like 10 in the morning. Oh, gosh. I know. It was like, and I couldn't change the flight because they bought it through some weird website in Europe.
Oh, my gosh.
And what's it like to be known as a burger guy? And you're a great chef and you do a lot of stuff.
It's the best ever. Yeah, what better title is there?
Yeah, it's incredible. Okay, this is an interesting question on the text line. Question for Mike Johnson, a female listener here. Intimidated by grilling. Any tips on how to get comfortable and get started? Easy meals or recipes to start with?
Man, easy meals on the grill. I would say, a pellet smoker is a good, easy way to start, like a Traeger or something like that. Well, that's a good question. I mean, burgers, ribs are pretty hard.
Chicken breast?
Yeah, chicken breast, but I like chicken legs. They're more forgiving. There's more fat in there. Breasts are, they're so lean you can dry them out real easily. If you're doing like chicken legs, I like to make a little brine. So I just do a little sugar and salt and boil it with water. I'm not sure the ratio. You got to look it up. But just do a brine and then brine it for like 4 hours and then smoke it, and it'll be a lot more forgiving.
And do you still have 7 grills on your patio, or is it more now?
Oh, probably more. Okay. I don't know.
Like if you do a whole meal,
I call it grill farm.
That's great. If you do a whole meal, Mike, so you've got your meat, you've got your protein, but if you're doing a whole meal, you do everything on the grill, right? Roasted vegetables. Tell us about it, like a typical.
Yeah. Well, I try and eat a little healthier, so I just do grilled veggies and chicken, really. That's pretty much it.
Idea of how to do veggies on the grill.
I get zucchini, squash, peppers. I love, and I'll put the peppers right on the charcoal and just burn them all the way around, and then I'll throw them in a bowl and cover them with plastic, and then you peel, and then it steams them, and then you just peel the burnt part off. That's the best way to do peppers. And then I do like a lot of potatoes, sweet potato. I'll wrap them in foil, and I'll just throw those right in the charcoal too. So while I'm grilling, they just get kind of burnt on the outside, and beautiful and steamy in the middle.
That sounds delicious.
It's delicious.
We have another question from the 314. Looking to buy a grill, any recommendations? I've heard a lot of good things about the Pit Bosses.
I don't have one, but everybody loves Pit Boss. I've heard they're really good, so I would recommend that.
You don't have a favorite on your grill farm?
I use this one called it's an Argentinian grill, which somebody gave to me. Like I was supposed to shoot videos on it, and I never did. But it's like you can like lift stuff up and do different levels, and then I'm doing this like people can see me like with my arms.
We'll be on YouTube.
You guys do that too?
Yeah.
Like it's about this big. No, but it's got all these racks and stuff, and you can do stuff like indirectly or directly. It's really cool. I'll show you a picture.
Okay.
After,
What about the typical grill that you're buying?
Weber kettle. I think Weber kettle is the best one to use.
Are you guys in a bunch of barbecue competitions?
I do Memphis in May. I just do the World Championships. I do the American Royal in Kansas City, and I'll do Memphis in May because I don't really do the little ones.
How do they evaluate? Like, what do they do? You have tasters, or what happens?
Yeah, there's judges, and you have to go to like judging school, and it's kind of weird. Like it's stuff that like it's not the way I would serve it in the restaurants. They want super sweet, and it's odd. They're injecting it with all these phosphates and stuff to keep it juicy and.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's a little weird, but But if you win, you're world champion. So like we won a lot of things at Memphis in May, and we can brag. We come back and brag that we're like world champion or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
So I would think then, but with those being the circumstances, you could win a world championship by making something that you don't particularly love.
Yeah. Easy.
Right?
Yeah.
So you just have to.
We're the 2-time baked beans world champion.
Okay, we had a question about baked beans. Recipe to spice up baked beans. What do you do?
Yeah, I put in chopped brisket, like leftover brisket, all the time. We actually won the baked beans world championship twice, which is, I'm sure our beans aren't like the best in the world, but we got lucky and won. We won at the American Royal twice. So there's 800 barbecue teams there, and we won. I want to say like 3 years ago and 4 years ago. But I would say chopped brisket. Or a lot of bacon. A lot of bacon I'll put in any.
That's a key. But you want to add
brown sugar,
right?
bacon.
You can't lose.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson from SugarFire and from Hi-Pointe here on 101 ESPN. Here's one that seems simple, but a lot of people have difficulty with this. This is from the 618. How do you keep your meat from sticking to the grill?
Well, one thing is you get your grill really hot first. If you put it on the grill and it's not like super hot, that's a problem. And I spray it with I have avocado oil in a spray bottle, and I'll usually spray that down first.
So,
or just put a little oil on the meat.
That's olive oil, avocado.
Olive oil. I use avocado oil, but you can use anything.
Yeah, avocado oil's sneaky great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a really high smoke point and no flavor. Mm-hmm. Allegedly healthy. I don't know.
Allegedly.
I don't know. I mean, maybe like that's what they say, but
so
I haven't done the research.
So how busy will you guys be this weekend? I mean, this is, as Randy said, it's a grilling weekend.
We're so busy, like we have to have our meat companies bring trucks for us, like refrigerated trucks, and they park them out back of the restaurant, and so we're using those as like home bases with like full of meats.
You get sick of it, man? I mean, you sit there and go, "Come on, man! I mean, give me some time off here."
No,
keep
I don't
it coming.
Care. No, I need more stuff.
Okay,
like kids in college, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
I got to do a lot of people, you know. But I came here from Olivet, and he's doing I want to say 250 ribs a day right now.
Wow,
that's great.
So, that's a lot. Yeah. So if you're not doing the 3, 2, 1 or whatever the method is, how quickly
we
do
just
you
throw
ribs?
them in. We do at the restaurant. We'll cook at 275 for like 3.5 hours.
Wow,
and it's good. They're great. And then we wrap them in foil and plastic, and we have these holding cabinets.
So
and they're great, but it's not like it's different if you do the the wrap and all that.
Sure.
Oh, you had a friend who just texted in. I think Sid Warner. Yes. Do you know who Sid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know Sid. Yeah, I know his dad.
Sid said, "Curious what Mike thinks is the best barbecue outside of SugarFire."
In St. Louis?
I believe so. Let's see. Beast, something Beast.
Oh, I love Beast. Oh, they're all good. I love Pappy's, Beast. I don't want to insult anybody. They're all my favorites. Salt and Smoke's awesome. But I love Pappy's. I mean, Bogart's. Salt and Smoke Beast, I'd put them all in the same category.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gotten multiple texts here. So let's just do the perfect burger again quickly. Okay, so if you can give us the blend first. Let's start with the blend.
I have a whole system. It's kind of psycho. But so I got the burger and, half chuck, 25% brisket, 25% short rib. And I do like a 5-ounce patty smashed on get it crispy on one side. American cheese. I use a potato bun, and it's hard to find a good potato bun here in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. If you go on Amazon, it's called a Martin's potato roll. You could probably get one on Amazon. We were special order them here in St. Louis, but we don't do that anymore.
So potato bun, that's a big
You need a potato bun because it's the perfect squishiness, not too dense. Mm-hmm. It gets a good you have to butter toast it. That's texture, and it also protects the bun from getting soggy. A thin sliced onion, you put that on the bottom because that absorbs the juices from the beef and protects the bun. Mm-hmm. Shredded iceberg, 1 thin sliced tomato, and then pickle, and Duke's mayo.
And you turned me on a couple of years ago to Malden salt.
I do Malden salt on all my meat when it comes off. Yeah.
So salt
no matter what.
So
yeah. Not at the restaurant, too expensive, but at home, like any meat that comes off. Okay. I put Malden salt.
So, and again, the thin sliced onion on the bottom, that's important.
It's protecting the bun from getting soggy, and it soaks up the juices and kind of cooks the onion a little bit.
Yeah.
I never thought about that before.
Yeah. Professionalism.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And then what about, are you, because you're old school, you're kind of like me with baseball, you're a traditionalist. What about putting an onion ring on top? Do you ever do stuff like that?
Yeah, I do. I'll put fries on top.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Good call.
I'll mix it up.
Is there a sauce you like?
Barbecue sauce or burger sauce?
Either one.
Burger sauce.
Burger sauce. Well, burger sauce I do. It's like I mix make like a fake, Big Mac sauce. I do relish, sweet relish, mayonnaise, and ketchup.
Okay.
But barbecue sauce. I try to just eat the meat. I don't like all the sugar.
I got you.
Okay, one more thing, Mike, because I know that you like to grill everything. I'm enamored of the Blackstone and of doing breakfast on a Blackstone.
I do it all the time. I got one,
Okay.
I actually took one. We did a gig in New Orleans like 2 months ago, and I put it in the back of I towed a smoker down, and I put it in the back of the trailer. Mm-hmm. Got home, and it was gone.
Oh, no.
I don't know where it disappeared to, but I had to buy another one.
Okay.
So, but I actually used it Tuesday at the house. Okay. I love them.
Do you do
a whole breakfast? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you can do pancakes on it. You can do all the sauce,
bacon, everything. Yeah. Okay. Hash browns, the best.
And you like that particular the Blackstone?
I love Blackstone. Yeah,
okay.
Ideal.
Great. So
how did you learn how to do all this stuff?
Trial and error. But I was a fancy chef for a long time.
Okay.
Like I worked in New Orleans and France and Chicago and everywhere.
For now you're in barbecue.
Yeah.
Love it.
More better. Yeah.
One other thing here, by the way, if you're doing brisket or if you're doing ribs, whatever you're doing, if you're looking,
you ain't cooking.
There you go.
Leave it alone. Just put it in there and don't check.
Okay.
It'll be fine. I mean, check it for like
He teaches
several
me.
hours.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Don't let it go for days, but like, you know.
Man, you're the best. We appreciate you
too.
stopping by and coming
Anytime.
in
I'll come every
studio.
day if you guys want me to.
Yeah, we love having you in. And we'll definitely do something as the summer unfolds. We'll do 4th of July again like we always do.
Okay, perf. That'd be awesome.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Mike Johnson. And if you aren't barbecuing yourself this weekend, let SugarFire do it for you. Head on over to, I'm going to play golf on Sunday over at Forest Park. I think I might just stop by the Hi-Pointe over there. Get a
Text me if you go.
Okay, we'll do. Mike Johnson from SugarFire Hi-Pointe. And don't forget to check out Hot Pizza Cold Beer on Washington. Great pizza from that family of restaurants. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we've got The Fight. And I guess we need a fighter, huh? 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! The Fight is next on 101 ESPN.
Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. It's because it feels like I'm really joining a community over there. I'm actually going over to the West location today to go work out with Christine. I've been working out with her twice a week, and I'm seeing huge results as I get ready for my wedding. And I also love it because they're helping me get back into the sport that I played my entire life, and that is tennis. I love going over and hitting with Scott. It's just so much fun, and they always just provide a wonderful experience, and that's why I love my MAC.
This is Rocc here with your Sports Center update. Brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals back in action tonight, starting a 3-game series against the Chicago Cubs. 7:15 is your first pitch for Game 1. Last night in the NHL playoffs, the Canucks fell to the Oilers again, this time in double overtime. McDavid ends it with just under a minute into that second overtime. Rangers and Panthers, Game 2. Pregame starts at 6:30 right here on 101 ESPN. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent Mecklenburg heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, and Rocco here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today, after 3 tries, is Peter. Peter, how are you doing? And I'm not saying 3 tries for you. It's just it took a minute to get to you, Peter, for other people who are ahead.
I'm doing well, thank you. Just very hungry after hearing all about barbecue.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Are you ready to fight, Randy? Here we go with question number 1.
Good.
Our upcoming guest, Bruce Gradkowski, is in a small group of 6-round quarterbacks to start games their rookie year. Which team drafted and started Gradkowski in 2006? Was it the Texans, the Bucks, or the Saints?
Let's go with the Bucks.
The Cardinals ended the Orioles' no-sweep streak at 106 series, the 3rd longest streak in baseball history. Which National League Central team owns the all-time record at 124 straight? Is it the Cardinals, the Cubs, or the Reds?
Oh, I think it's like the Cardinals in the 40s or something. Let's go Cardinals.
All right, on to question 3 we go.
Which recent Cardinal holds the single-season franchise record for strikeouts with 168? Is it Matt Carpenter, Jason Hayward, or Tyler O'Neill?
Let's go Jason Hayward.
And number 4, because of the lockout to start the 1994 NHL season, the Blues were not the first team to play in the newly opened Kiel Center. Which team was? Was it the Billikens, the Ambush, or the Stampede?
Oh wow, that would have been winter. Let's go with the Billikens.
All right, let me go grab Randall, see if he's finished eating some food.
Peter, how are you feeling?
Can't complain. It's Friday. Don't know about my answers, but
yeah, you never know. You never know. And Randy is fueled today by brisket that Mike left for us, so we'll see how that works out. Did you have grapes and brisket today, Randy?
Yeah, but I didn't bring any. My grapes are here.
Oh, he left his grapes.
Can I do a little fight PSA really quick?
Yeah.
If you text in your name in the fight, we love it. We love having you on the fight. And then you get a phone call from maybe a number you don't recognize, just answer it. Just maybe if you get a text that says, hey, you're in the fight, maybe answer the phone call that pops up that you might not recognize. Just saying. Just saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Just helping out the protocols.
It worked out because we got Peter in this process.
Oh,
so
good.
Say hi to Peter.
Good morning, Peter. How you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us here on the opening drive. We appreciate it.
Ready for question number 1?
Ready, Brooke.
Our upcoming guest, Bruce Gradkowski, is in a small group of 6-round quarterbacks to start games their rookie year. Which team drafted and started Gradkowski in 2006?
I believe he was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
On to question 2. The Cardinals ended the Orioles' no-sweep streak at 106 series. 3rd longest streak in baseball history.
Oh, man.
Which National League Central team owns the all-time record at 124 straight?
124 straight series without being swept?
And an NL Central team.
Was it an NL Central team when this record was broken?
No, they're a current NL Central team.
I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Redlegs.
You thinking Big Red Machine?
I'm thinking Big Red Machine, Dan.
Okay.
Question 3, Randy. Which recent Cardinal holds the single-season franchise record for strikeouts with 168?
The franchise record for strikeouts? A recent Cardinal with a franchise record. So is recent like what would we classify as recent? I mean, last quarter century or last 10 years? What?
The second one's more accurate.
Okay, thanks. I think I'll go with Jimmy Ballgame.
Okay. On to question number 4.
That would be Jim Edmonds for the uninitiated.
I got that part.
Yes.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Because of the lockout to start the 1994 NHL season, the Blues were not the first team to play in the newly opened Kiel Center. Which team was?
The first team of any sport? Like the Chicago Bulls played the first game there without Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen was there. I was there.
But the first St. Louis franchise.
Oh, first St. Louis franchise.
Oh, okay.
That played there. 1994. Dan, I'll do the lifeline here.
The Billikens, the Ambush, or the Stampede?
Okay, the Stampede was an indoor football team that arrived at about the same time because that was the Mike Keenan era. I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with the the St. Louis Stampede indoor football team. But the first game played there was an NBA preseason game that included the Bulls.
Matthew, it's your time.
It's
Trey Wingo. Trey Wingo, the voice of the St. Louis Stampede.
That's right.
Yeah, I was just thinking St. Louis teams with the question. Sorry about that one.
Yeah,
I should have specified that in the question and not just with the answer.
And by the way, I have no idea who the Bulls played. I just remember Scottie Pippen was there, Michael wasn't.
Great way to market the game there, NBA.
Yeah.
Like when you had a Bulls Grizzlies preseason game and didn't market it at all in 2013. Loved that. Thanks. Love that. Anyhow, we have a winner in today's fight. No tiebreaker needed. Does Randy Carricker walk off into the sunset of a long weekend with a victory, or does Peter, who wasn't even going to be on the fight today, walk away with an unlikely victory? Ring that bell.
The winner and new champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Congratulations, Peter. You won the fight today. You took down Randy of a score of 2-1 today. Nicely done.
Thank you. Randy, still have a good weekend, man.
You too. I will. I hope you do too.
He's going to be eating burgers with short rib and brisket. Everyone's going to have a good weekend.
Not going to be bad.
There you go. Let's go through the questions and answers. Our upcoming guest, Bruce Gradkowski, coming up at 9:15, Battlehawks offense coordinator. Small group of 6th-round quarterbacks to start games their rookie year. It was, in fact, the Buccaneers that he started and played for in 2006. The Cardinals ended the Orioles' no sweep streak at 106 series, protecting the 1942 to 1944 St. Louis Cardinals record of 124 straight series. The Cubs, by the way, are number 2 with 116 series now in between the Cardinals and the Orioles. Which recent Cardinal holds the single-season franchise record for strikeouts with 168? In 2021, Tyler O'Neill broke Jimmy Ballgame's record when he struck out 168 times in 2021. And because of the lockout to start the 1994 season, the Blues were not the first St. Louis team to play in the newly opened Kiel Center. On November 7th, 20 days before the Billikens would open their season, the St. Louis Ambush actually opened their season inside the Kiel Center. The Stampede would arrive in 1995, and that's when they would start play in St. Louis. So a 2-1 win for Peter today in the fight. Congratulations, Peter. We will talk to you on Monday.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter. Great to have you with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Coming up, the Enjoy Illinois 300 is coming to St. Louis and to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd. And we're going to talk to Ryan Blaney, who's going to race in the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend. He's the defending champ at the Coca-Cola 600. Ryan Blaney, NASCAR driver, next on 101 ESPN.
You didn't do your NASCAR.
Welcome back to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. Brooke Grimsley, Randy Carricker with you, and it's a pleasure to go to the celebrity line and welcome in the reigning NASCAR Cup Series champion, Ryan Blaney. He'll be here in St. Louis for the Enjoy Illinois 300 on June 2nd over at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Ryan, thanks so much for the time this morning.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me on.
Well, I know that this is a big weekend for you. You won the Coca-Cola 600 last year, and you're back at it for this Memorial Day weekend. How much of a thrill was it, and how much fun is it to run in that race on Memorial Day weekend?
Well, it's great. It's obviously a special weekend, being Memorial Day weekend. Having the families of the soldiers who have given their lives for this country out, getting to meet them is always really special. I think NASCAR and the teams have always done a great job of honoring, those people who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And it's a complete privilege to be able to race on that weekend. So looking forward to it. Hopefully we can defend our 600 victory from last year, and we'll see. We'll see here in a few days.
Ryan, looking at last year with the Enjoy Illinois 300, you were leading by 83 laps at the raceway before dropping to 6th in the finishing order. What is your expectation this time around, and what did you learn from that?
Yeah, we've really enjoyed going to St. Louis, and the track there the last couple of years, and I think it always puts on a great show. The people there are awesome. The fan turnout is always fantastic, and they treat us great, and it always puts on a good race. And we've been really fast there the last couple of years, and had a shot. Led a bunch of laps in the previous two races, and just trying to figure out how do we finish it off. And so we'll see. I thought we had a good shot last year, and we kind of got behind on a couple restarts, and then next thing you know, you're running 5th, and it's hard to get back to the lead with that little laps to go. But just taking things we learned, from the previous years and trying to apply them, and you hope your cars are, close to where they were in those races where you were fast, and you can just build off that and try to do things a little different.
Ryan Blaney, the driver of the number 12 Body Armor Flash 4 Ford Mustang for Team Penske. Every track has its own little idiosyncrasies, and obviously you're concentrating right now on what's going to happen in Charlotte. But what are some of the little things about Gateway International Raceway, formerly Gateway, now Worldwide Technology Raceway? Well, what makes that track different?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Every track is a little different, and there are some that are the same size as others, but they all have their little tendencies, from bumps to surface and things like that. And Gateway Worldwide Technology is unique. It's a funky racetrack as far as long straightaways. Turns 1 and 2 is really tight, like a sharp corner, and you're downshifting twice in that corner, and it's pretty banked. And then you go down to 3 and 4, and it's a really long, gradual corner, really flat, and you're downshifting one time there. So you're downshifting, upshifting like 5 times a lap of that place, 6 times a lap of that place. So it makes it pretty tough on drivers as far as making sure your downshifts are right, making sure you don't kind of over rev and mess anything up. And then from a car setup standpoint, is all right. I just described that the ends are very different, the two ends of the racetrack. So how do you set your car up to be good in both ends? And that's really hard to do. You kind of you're compromising on. Well, I'm decent in this end, but I'm really good in this end, so I don't want to really work on the end I'm decent in because I don't want to lose anything on the end I'm really good in. So it's always kind of like a balancing act when you go to those tracks to where they're very, very different on each end of the speedway. And I think we've done a good job of kind of compromising corners of being okay in both, or like I said, good, really good in one end, okay in the other, and you just kind of make it work. So those are the challenges that the teams and drivers face, when we go to those places.
For those who haven't been to the Enjoy Illinois 300, or maybe it's just kind of a casual fan of NASCAR and maybe looking forward to going, what would they expect from going out to the Enjoy Illinois 300 and seeing you guys out there?
Yeah, well, there's concerts that go on all weekend. I forget who's playing this year, but they always do a good job of getting some amazing bands to come out to where people have a great time. And I feel like the hospitality that the racetrack does is second to none. There's not a bad seat in the house. You're always going to see good racing side by side, maybe a little bit of contact here and there. So that's always, compelling and exciting for people. And so those things are always fun. I know us teams and drivers, we love going out there just because, it's a fantastic place, and the racetrack puts on a good show, and hopefully we can do that again this year. Ryan Blaney is with us in the opening drive on 101 ESPN. And Ryan, it's inevitable that we're going to ask about the fight last weekend. Number one, as one of the racers who wasn't involved with the fight, what did you think? Yeah, that got everywhere. That really blew up. And I guess fights always blow up. But I didn't know what was going on until like 30 minutes after it happened. I had no idea what happened. I was kind of on pit road and removed from the garage. I didn't really see what was going on. But then when I saw the video, I was intrigued. That's not often you get a big brawl like that. And hey, it's professional sports. Tempers flare over, emotions run high, and then sometimes when emotions run high, you throw hands, and people disagree, and sometimes they lead to physical altercation. So it was an exciting one, that's for sure. A lot of people were involved, but it definitely made for a lot of views. A lot of people talked about it. So we'll see if it carries over. You never know.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people were talking about it. It was promoted everywhere. I thought it was interesting that fine comes down from NASCAR where Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is fined $75,000 after that. What was your reaction to that news?
Yeah, honestly, the fine was surprising to me. I didn't think he would get fined for that. I've seen fights and altercations that drivers didn't get fined for it. But gosh, that's above my pay grade. Who fines who? But I was surprised that they fined Ricky for that. But hey, it's their judgment, their jurisdiction, and gosh, what are you going to do? It's just it's one of those things. But I was a little shocked at that. Ryan Blaney with us on 101 ESPN. And earlier this week, your foundation hosted its Pickle for a Purpose event, and your foundation does great work in trying to help those that are affected by Alzheimer's disease and concussions. Brooke is really into the pickleball. Are you a player? And if so, how are you? Yeah, I don't know if I'm a player. I participate. I don't know if I play, but no, it was fun. That was our third kind of charity outing that we've done, and we've done something different the previous 2 years. And this was the first year we did the pickleball route. And, pickleball is blowing up, as everyone knows, and everyone seems to enjoy playing it. And we thought it was going to be fun. So we had a great event a couple of nights ago down in Charlotte. Was really fortunate. We had, a bunch of drivers out there, a bunch of great partners. And it was a blast. So people had a ton of fun. I learned a lot. I only played a couple times before the other night, and I really enjoy it. So I might be hooked. I might be on the train now.
Ryan,
I don't think I would play you because I feel like you would crush me. But lessons maybe. I need to take some lessons, and then we'll see where it's at.
Yeah, Ryan, you said hooked. Once you get started, because at first I was like, I don't know about this. And then once you get going, then you're completely hooked. So as you're casually getting into pickleball, what else do you like to do, of course, outside of racing?
Yeah, I'm a big golfer. I really enjoy playing golf. I started, about 4 years ago, and didn't really golf growing up. Wasn't really in my family. And then I just kind of decided I was a COVID golfer. I picked it up during COVID because it was like the only thing you could do. And I fell in love with it. And I really enjoyed going golfing. So I would say I'm still more of a golfer than I am a pickleball player. But you never know. Maybe pickleball will kind of become just as interesting to me as golf is. But that's probably the other sports I kind of do outside of my sport.
Hey, Ryan, we have the professional sports here, the Cardinals and the Blues, and inevitably those teams have players that have friends on other teams. Are you guys friendly? Do you go out and golf with other drivers?
Some. Yeah, some. I was really lucky. I grew up, racing with a handful of guys that, in the Cup Series now, myself, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, we all kind of grew up together and been racing each other, since we were 10 years old, and been really neat to kind of grow up the same route. And now all of us kind of find a home on the NASCAR side. And there's a lot of golf tournaments that we privately put on between ourselves. So that's always fun, whether it's on the weekend where we have some downtime or through the week. So yeah, there's a handful that I go out golf with, and it's obviously very competitive because we're competitive by nature. But it's still a lot of fun. Yeah.
Ryan Blaney started this interview by talking about the importance to you of Memorial Day weekend, and you had the opportunity to go and lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. How did that affect you? How impactful was that for you?
Yeah, that was quite an experience. It was my first time to Arlington. I never experienced it before, and was really fortunate to be able to get a great history lesson on, how Arlington started. It's just a fantastic. I wouldn't say fantastic. It's very overwhelming, and it puts it into perspective for you, at least for me, of when you see it all, of how many men and women are buried there, and it puts it into perspective for you of actually how small you are, in the grand scheme of things, and how good you have it, and how lucky you are to be living in a country like this, that you can do what we do professionally, in your personal life, and you have people out there who are putting their life on the line and laying their life down to make sure that you can live the way you want to live. So an unbelievable experience. I was really thankful for them for having me out. Getting to witness the changing of the guard was very special. To be able to lay the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier was very special. So that's something that I think Charlotte Speedway has done a good job of. The 600 champion goes and does that, and was fantastic. So hopefully I get to do that again, just because I'd love to bring my family out, because it's a really unique thing to be a part of.
Thank you for doing that, and for your patriotism and for your allegiance. It's greatly appreciated by all of us who share those same views as you, Ryan. Okay, a couple of other things here. Number one, several years ago, I was at an event in Charlotte, and not only are you racing at Charlotte this weekend, but you're going to be, you live in the Charlotte area. I was at an event where they took us on a lap of Charlotte Motor Speedway, and so we see like a Mustang come by, like you drive, and then a Toyota comes by. I had to ride Charlotte Motor Speedway in a minivan, Ryan. Did I get screwed in this thing?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Like 65 miles an hour in a minivan. It was not like I expected it was going to be.
Yeah, hopefully we can get you another ride along at some point, to where we can show you. They can show you some more speed, and you can get a different perspective of the racetrack at speed. But hey, at least you got to be on the surface and see all the bumps in it and realize the characters of it. But yeah, I would try to lobby to get you back to a little bit higher paced vehicle.
I appreciate that very much. And then the other thing is, before we let you go, when you drive at Charlotte, and then you're able to drive home, how difficult or easy is it to separate driving a race car and driving at really high speeds and then hopping on the highway to drive home?
I get that question a lot, and it's pretty easy for me, honestly, to kind of let go. People always ask me, like, "Oh, are you a really fast driver on the roads?" And I'm like, "No, I'm the opposite. I'm a very slow driver on the roads. I really I try to not put myself in a hurry, because I get paid to go really fast on the racetrack and for my job, and there's no benefit for me to go fast on the roads. So I'm a cruiser, that's for sure. But yeah, it's pretty easy for me to you jump in and out of it, pretty quick, and can kind of turn the switch on and off when you need to. So luckily I have that in my DNA that I can turn it off.
Good to hear. Well, we wish you luck in defending your Coca-Cola 600 championship this weekend, and then can't wait to have you right here in St. Louis the weekend after that for the Worldwide Technology Raceway Enjoy Illinois 300. It's going to be a fun time, Ryan. Congratulations on that championship, and we'll see you next week, okay?
All right, thank you. I'm looking forward to being there next week.
Thank you. Have a great day. Ryan Blaney, and you can get tickets for the Enjoy Illinois 300 at www.raceway.com. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, we've got a very quick rush hour reset before we talk to Battlehawks offensive coordinator Bruce Gradkowski here on 101 ESPN.
biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It is the Rush Hour Reset. Cards and Cubs tonight. Opener of a 3-game series at the ballpark. Michaelis against Imanaga. We had Joe Buck on the show on Monday, and he'll be in the booth tonight. Cards and Cubs at 7:15. And Imanaga 5-0 with an 0.84 earned run average. Let's hope the Cardinals can keep that offense going against him.
If they are able to figure out Shota Imanaga out, then I'm going to fully buy into this offense for the rest of the season, because 9 different teams have faced him and nobody has really been able to figure him out. He pitched 7 shutout innings the other day in that 1-0 win against the Pirates. He's really, really good. So that's the way I look at it right now.
13 home runs for the Cardinals in the past 10 games. So the offense has come alive. I think Nolan Gorman is looking better at the plate. They're winning some of these tight games, and the bullpen has been sensational. We'll see if that carries over this weekend. I think if you're a Cardinal fan, though, the concern would be your starters. Michaelis has got to be better. You don't know what you're going to get out of Matthew Liberatore, and we'll see how it unfolds on Sunday. But should be a fun weekend at the ballpark, no doubt. Are you guys surprised, by the way, Dan, you mentioned Gorman. Last 14 days, 345 batting average, 472 on base, 828 slug with 2 doubles, 4 homers, and an OPS of 1.300, and an OPS plus, by the way, of 253. Yeah, I mean, he needed to come alive, and he was a guy that you're counting on. You think about the left-handed bats of the Cardinals, very, very important. Left-handed hitting, generally speaking, in Major League Baseball, more of an emphasis, it seems like, put on that. So that's big for the Cardinals.
Do you consider this, and somebody texted this in earlier, do you consider this a pivotal series this weekend for the Cardinals for the rest of the season?
I think when you're playing in the division, I think it is. It maybe not pivotal, but important.
I would say important, not pivotal yet. Even if he gets swept, it's just such a long season. But the head-to-head inside the division, you got to make hay, especially if this division is going to be as tight as we expect it to be. Yep. So 3-game series this weekend. Meanwhile, last night in the NHL, the Oilers over the Canucks in double overtime, 3-2. Connor McDavid scoring the winner after he took a 4-minute penalty at the beginning of the first OT, and then was stopped by Jake Ettinger on an unbelievable save midway through the first overtime. Wide open net for McDavid. He wasn't able to convert. Ettinger made the save, but then he ended it in under a minute into the second overtime as the Oilers take this game from Vancouver in double overtime. Edmonton Superstars beat the depth of Dallas last night, and it was an entertaining game, double OT. Love those, and it's always fun to see that in postseason play.
That's why I love the NHL playoffs so much. It's just so exciting. It always goes down in the wire.
And Jason Tatum and the Celtics knock off the Pacers 126-110 in Game 2 of their series. Celts lead 2-0. The St. Louis Battlehawks are in action this weekend. They take on the Arlington Renegades down in Texas, and we're going to talk to Battlehawks offensive coordinator Bruce Gradkowski next on 101 ESPN.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Are pet odors hijacking your home sweet home? Then allow Air Alliance to be your odor-fighting ally. Their cutting-edge air purifiers and filtration systems capture pet dander, hair, and even the most stubborn dog odors. Breathe easy and enjoy life with your furry friends without holding your breath. Call Air Alliance today or visit them online at airallianceteam.com. That's airallianceteam.com.
Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN in St. Louis, and the St. Louis Battlehawks still steamrolling towards home field throughout the playoffs as we approach the UFL championship game, which will be played here in St. Louis. And the guy who's orchestrating the top offense in the UFL is Bruce Gradkowski, the offensive coordinator of your St. Louis Battlehawks, who joins us now on the Celebrity Line on 101 ESPN. Bruce, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, good. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
We're excited to have you. You got great work out of Manny Wilkins last weekend. How's McCarron?
He's doing better. You know, AJ's doing better. I'll tell you what, I've never been around a guy that works so hard to get right, whether it's an injury, whether prepared for a game, you know, whether he wants just the offense detailed the right way. So you really respect the way AJ approaches his job. And, you know, we're fortunate enough. We clinched a spot in the playoffs, and now we're fighting for that home field advantage.
Manny Wilkins, as Randy mentioned, he really stepped up in that situation, taking over the reins. What did you see from him as the starting quarterback last weekend?
You know, I was just fired up for Manny. You know, a lot of these guys, I mean, that's why I'm coaching in this league. I want to try to help guys as much as I can get a shot at the next level, you know, and for a guy like Manny that hadn't played in a while, you know, when he came out of Arizona State, he got hurt in the bowl game. So, you know, his combine, pro day, all that kind of stuff, he was dealing with the injury still. So now he finally gets a chance to start again. And I was just so happy for him to get the win. He put some phenomenal things on film. And as you guys know, just watching him, he can be electric, you know, making plays with his legs. And I love it. Now, you know, going into another week to prepare and continue to get better, I think he's going to do that, and he takes ownership of that stuff. He wants to get better. He wants to improve. But I was just really happy for Manny to get that opportunity to be able to play and come through for our team, and it was a great team win last week.
Bruce, how much of a say do you give your guys to have a voice in the offensive scheme? You're the coordinator, but how much of a voice do you give them in terms of scheming every single week?
You know, we have the foundation of the offense, but whoever's under center, I am going to communicate with endlessly to make sure they're comfortable when they get under center and they have their opportunity to play. And, you know, when Manny's out there, he's going to like a few different things than AJ, and AJ is going to like different things than Manny, and they might like some similar things as well. But, you know, just me as a former quarterback, I know how that is. You know, when I'm backing up Big Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh, you know, Ben probably has his favorite third down plays, and I have my favorite ones. And, you know, and they're all within the foundation of the offense. And that's what we try to do here, you know, with the Battlehawks is I'm pretty open to suggestions. I'm open because I want guys to be comfortable with when they're on the field, when they're playing, and I'll give them tools in their tool belt to go out on the field and execute. And I learned that from John Gruden. You know, I'm not going to have a quarterback that gets under center that's not prepared to have, you know, an exit strategy versus a blitz or a certain front or look or defense. You know, we're going to have we try to, you know, have the best play possible each and every down, and these guys can handle it. You know, Nick Tiano last year, our backup, could handle it. AJ, as we've seen the last few years, can handle it tremendously. And then Manny last week did a phenomenal job. So give those guys a lot of credit of what they can handle from an offensive scheme.
Bruce Gradkowski, the offensive coordinator of the Battlehawks, with us on 101 ESPN. And Bruce, you have so many good players. And one of the things that Mike Martz did here, not that they didn't pay attention to who they were playing, but he said, we really worry about what we're doing because we're really talented. On a different level, obviously. You have great receivers, you have a great pair of running backs, you have a really good offensive line, and your quarterbacks can play, and you don't have a ton of knowledge, even though you've played a team like Arlington pretty much, and you've got a lot of tape on them now. But how much do you worry about the defense when you are putting together a week's plan?
You know, no, that's a great point. And shoot, what Mike Martz did in the Rams, you know, back in the day, the greatest show on turf, like that's unbelievable because now – being in a position of being an offensive coordinator, it's hard. It's hard to scheme every week. It's hard. You know, you get one play call on that 3rd down and 3, and you're trying to make it perfect for the guys. And so, Mike Martz back in the day watching that offense was exciting. And but I'm the same type of mindset as that. Like even as a player, I want us to focus on what we can control. And we talk about that all the time. And it definitely means the X's and O's side, but it also means our attitude, our effort, and our preparation. You know, those three things are in our control. And a lot of times, no matter if you're, working in a healthcare system or you're working at a restaurant, you can apply those three things in anything you do, focusing on your attitude, your effort, your preparation. And a lot of times we focus on what's not in our control. And so I always try to rein it back into those three things. And then when it comes to offense and who we're playing, it really doesn't matter. Mike Tomlin used to say it's the nameless gray faces that we play week in and week out. And so let's focus on what we can control. Let's be at the right depth. Let's be at the right spot. Let's work our assignment. Let's go through our progression and our reads. And so that's a great point. I try to kind of live by that as well.
What have you seen from Hakeem Butler and his growth this season? Obviously, one of the great stories in all the league right now.
Oh, yeah, Hakeem the Dream. Hakeem's awesome, man. Like, just as far as a guy as well off the field, and just being able to work with him the last 2 years and watching his development and what he can do on the field. I always say he's a playmaker. He's got that it factor. When the game's on the line or a big play needs to be made, he can step up and make those plays. And so it's awesome to watch his growth and as he continues to grow and develop, but also the teammate he is as well. And that helps a lot, not only for a coaching staff, but also it resonates throughout the locker room. And so, I'm super thankful to be able to work with Hakeem the last 2 years. I still blows my mind he's not on an NFL roster. But I think it takes the right team, right situation to use him the right way. I could see him in Denver with a Sean Payton and how Sean Payton knows how to, move around his weapons and set them up for success. And so, I think Hakeem's got a bright future. And then it always, like we talked about a minute ago, it comes back to what we can control. And right now, Hakeem's in the UFL. He's doing a phenomenal job. He's handling his business. And hopefully it works out for him and others as we move forward.
Coach, being an offensive coordinator, are you like sleeping in an office? Are you ever going home? What are game weeks like for the offensive coordinator of the Battlehawks?
Yeah, no, it is long nights for sure, especially in the UFL. We don't have a bunch of staff, so it's not like I have a quarterback coach to assist me or a quality control coach. We have our receivers coach, Phil McGagan. We have our running backs coach, and Kyle Kasky, that's also handling special teams as well. And then we have my brother, Gino Gradkowski, that handles the O-line. And then Anthony Beck, our head coach, coaches the tight end. So all hands are in the pile to try to help this offense week in and week out. And those guys do a phenomenal job helping with the plan, getting our guys detailed and on their assignments and whatnot. But it's late nights, and actually yesterday is probably my favorite day of the week, our last practice of the week, because we get done as probably like a staff and as a team after practice, but I have the whole afternoon and evening to continue to work on my game plan and gather my thoughts, and that really helps me, collect my thoughts going into the game. But it's fun, it's exciting, it doesn't last long. There's a few things I need in life, and that's my family, that's a good workout, and that's food. And other than that, I'm all in on football all day, every day.
So do you get along with your brother? He's on your staff.
We do. And it's probably a good thing there's a 6-year age gap. But Gino does a phenomenal job. And, he's my brother. So, like, last year, coming into this thing, when I was coach, he came out to visit for a week. And I didn't know. I mean, I thought, like, yeah, Gino played in the league. He's probably a pretty good coach. I know he's a good person. And then he spent the week with us, and I was like, man, he's detailed. Like, he's organized. And then just watching him this year up close, he's just done a phenomenal job with the run game, with the plan, the schemes, coaching the guys up. And, he works really hard. And, at the end of the day, it's your younger brother, and you're like, come on, Gino, what's this? What's that? But it's all, great. And I'm really thankful to be able to work with him this season. It's truly a blessing.
Bruce, you're playing a 1-7 Arlington team this weekend. What's the week of practice been like for the Battlehawks?
It's been good. It's been exciting. Coach Beck does a great job with our schedule as well. He tries to take care of the guys physically, help them get prepared. for the next week, not only mentally but physically, because it's a quick season, quick weeks. It's not a big roster. So he's done a good job with that. And this week has been a good week of preparation. I think our guys are fired up, because you get to this point in the season, new guys have to step up. Injuries happen. We have some now on our team, as we're talking about the quarterback, where, you can't wait to see how guys perform when they get their shot, and we have a few guys with that opportunity.
We appreciate your time, Bruce. Good luck against the Arlington Renegades this weekend. Keep up the great work, and thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, man, thank you guys. Can't wait to see you guys back in St. Louis here soon.
We'll see you soon. Thanks. Take care.
Bye. That
is Bruce Gradkowski. He's the offensive coordinator of the Battlehawks here on 101 ESPN.
They got to take care of business this weekend.
TCB.
We will rally around Manny Wilkins.
And we will play good football.
That's so good. I love
You're all over the Battlehawks. You love it.
I love it. It's in my grid.
You got to get your grid in.
I do.
We always talk about your grid.
Yeah, got to have my grid, Danny.
Yeah, I know.
Coming up here on 101 ESPN, they said, what? On a Friday on 101 ESPN. Hey, here's something you might not think about. Did you know there's little opportunity for youths with disabilities in our region to play baseball and other sports because of a lack of adaptive facilities? Well, that's about to change. Here's why. The Gateway Region YMCA has partnered with Cardinals Care and the Boniface Foundation on construction of a state-of-the-art adaptive sports complex that's going to include a Miracle League baseball field, inclusive playground, and multi-purpose field so kids and adults with disabilities can play sports. And working with the Cardinals, the Y is very excited to share that the field is going to be named the Paul Goldschmidt Field. As part of its work as a nonprofit, the Y provides comprehensive adaptive support services to more than 1,000 individuals every year. This new facility is going to be a game changer by enabling the Y to expand programming for individuals with disabilities. But the Y needs your help too. It's not too late to become a founding donor and leave a lasting legacy. The Y has launched their community fundraising phase, and while every gift counts, there's some really cool recognition opportunities right now for your company or you as an individual or your family. For $500, as little as $500 for you or your company. Please consider making sports available for all so that children with disabilities can play ball and experience the joys of being on a team. Visit GWRYMCA.org. That's Gateway Region, GWRYMCA.org.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals are back in action, starting a 3-game series against the Chicago Cubs. 7:15 first pitch tonight will be Shota Imanaga facing off against Miles Michaelis for your St. Louis Cardinals. Last night it was Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Stars and Oilers. Oilers walk away with a second overtime victory, 3-2, as Connor McDavid ends it in under a minute. And the Celtics take a 2-0 lead in their Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA with a 126-110 win over the Pacers. The Celtics got 40 from Jaylen Brown and 23 each from Jason Tatum and Derek White, while Pascal Siakam was the only player with more than 20 points for the Pacers. Tonight on 101 ESPN, speaking of Eastern Conference Finals, this time in the NHL, Rangers and Panthers, Game 2. Pregame starts 6:30. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What you talking about?
What the hell are you talking about?
What you talking about?
Do you actually listen to yourself when you speak, or do you find you drift in and out?
What you talking about?
Bro, I'm out, man.
It's time for it. They said, what? They said, what?
What?
That fits perfectly, Dan.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Well, Charles Barkley is confused and most of all angry that TNT is on the verge of losing its rights to the NBA, meaning the end of the love show that I think we all love here inside the NBA. During an appearance on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday, Chuck was asked to describe the morale right now. That does not sound good whatsoever. One, I hate that this is coming to an end, especially in this manner, because it's such a great show. We talk about it all the time. It's pure entertainment. The analysis is even fun. I think it's something that even if you're just a casual NBA fan, you enjoy and you tune in just for that show, because the chemistry, I don't think I've seen a show like it, honestly, a sports show that has that much chemistry with the group. And I know he's talking about college football. When I saw that, that was kind of my reaction too, but it was interesting to hear Chuck's reaction because, I mean, I would listen to them talk about about anything, but why would you have them possibly do something with college football?
Well, that group isn't going to be doing.
No, they'd be out.
Okay, they'd be out of that situation.
Yeah. I think that's what he's saying is that they spent money on the football. Why wouldn't you spend it on NBA? And we're on the outside looking in.
Because it's such a good show. Why would you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it would be great if they kept it intact. But, I wonder if this group of guys, minus Ernie, could find a platform to do some type of half-hour NBA-type show, NBA analysis. I mean, do you go on ESPN and make it like the Pat McAfee show? I mean, you could do something like that.
Right, yeah.
Figure out a platform to do it on.
And one thing I heard earlier in the week is that TNT was thinking about the possibility of having those four together and just do the show without the NBA. Do a pregame show, do a postgame show, and there are shows that don't have the games that actually have their ratings increase right after the game ends. So it could be the go-to place. TNT still could after basketball games. I don't know if it'll be worth it. Charles Barkley is going to be extraordinarily expensive, but they do know that Ernie Johnson doesn't want to leave. He's tied to Turner. He wants to be there, and he doesn't want to do baseball anymore. So there's going to be limited things for Ernie Johnson to do. I would still, if I were ESPN, I would offer the moon for those four guys.
What about if you're NBC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be something you have to look at it. Your fan base is craving. I mean, I haven't heard one person say, man, I'm glad that they're not going to be doing the NBA.
No.
Everybody says we enjoy that show. If I'm NBC and I want my ratings to be up and I want to have some kind of component of a show going into the actual game, they're the group to do it.
Yeah, they would be. Although I also understood from somebody in the industry that Maria Taylor has already been told that she's going to be doing the pregame for the NBA on NBC.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, well, that makes sense because Ernie's not going to do it.
Right.
Now, can she handle the personality? I don't know if anybody can handle the personalities of that group. I think you just tee it up and let them go.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest question is, how did they even get to this point? I think that's the part that's still really confusing to me. But hearing what Charles said there, he said that they really screwed up, the higher-ups in this situation. How did they let this slip away in this situation?
From what I've been able to understand, and this is just through reading, TNT had a right of first refusal for the bid on the B package. ESPN owns the A package, and TNT had a right of first refusal on the B package. NBC made the bid on the B package, but TNT didn't think that it was as expensive as it was supposed to be. They thought they could bid $2.5 billion for some reason, and it was $2.8 billion.
Can you imagine an employee coming out and saying on national radio or TV, he's the only guy to get away with it, but Chuck saying, well, to get along with and to say that, well, they just totally screwed this thing up.
Yeah.
He is, but as an employee, do you walk the line a little bit? He gets away with anything he says.
But that's why he gets ratings.
I love it.
He's unfiltered.
And that's what you need, though, is that I think that's what works is because he's unfiltered, he's allowed to do that. So I'd worry about if he does go to another company, would he be allowed to do that or not? Because you know how sometimes moving over, if it's a different company, they have different ideas of what they want. And they might not like somebody speaking out in that way. And that's why I find it interesting. Dan followed up with asking him if he thought about starting his own production company with what you're talking about, like Pat McAfee before he went over to ESPN, if he's doing that or thinking about it.
Well, I've talked to the guys about everybody signing with my production company because I have my own production company, and I would love to do that if we lose it. But I have definitely actually somebody suggested that to me, to be honest with you, on the internet. So why don't Charles Barkley sign these four guys total, his production company and sell it? I'm like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But like I say, we're just sitting back waiting on these people to figure out what they're going to do. My two favorite wines are Inglenook and Opus. And these clowns I work for, they turned us into Ripple and Boone's Farm and Thunderbird. Like, we got the best studio show. And it's so funny, we just won the best studio show, but these fools turned us from Inglenook and Opus into damn Boone's Farm and Ripple. It's crazy.
Now, who else could get away with saying that?
Right, he's the only one.
Yeah, absolutely no one in that situation. Look, I want the unfiltered version of Chuck. I don't want him suppressed anyway. I want him to be able to do that, exactly say what he wants, and continue to entertain people. So I'd be interested to see what happens next with this.
You have to know what you're signing up for when you sign him. And I'm sure that everybody does. But because that's why he's so beloved, because he is completely unfiltered.
Oh, I love it.
I do too.
I'm just amazed that he gets away with some of the stuff he says, which is great. How about Pat McAfee? What's he getting from ESPN? Roughly about $80 million for that show?
Yeah.
I mean, then the investment in those guys certainly you would think would be worth it instead of having to go out and sell your own advertising and try to make these guys whole. Going out and saying, well, we're getting a check from ESPN to do this. It makes sense to go there.
Here's another thing. If you're Amazon, and we know what kind of money Amazon has, and they're going to have the C package for the NBA. Why wouldn't you, if you're Amazon, why don't you go get these 4 guys and the production crew?
How many games, by the way, does Amazon get?
I think they're going to have one a week.
Okay. So you get them on once a week? I tune in. I tune into their show.
Yes.
I do. Sometimes I tune in I don't watch the game, and I tune into the post. I find them highly entertaining.
Because their interviews, everything, the conversations, I mean, they can talk about anything and it would just be pure entertainment. So I think that's the thing is what happens with them next. And 2, they have to be allowed to do what they want. When you brought up Pat McAfee, I remember about Pat. I mean, he's called out ESPN when they've tried to suppress him. And he said, no, this is what you sign up basically. And then what did ESPN do? They didn't do anything because they knew that he holds all the power because this is his show. This is the way that he wants it to go, and they knew what they were signing up for. I wonder how some of these big companies feel about some of these big personalities and shows kind of taking back the reins in these situations.
But I think to Randy's point, that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun is that they're unfiltered. So if you're going to sign up with them, you know what you're getting, which is unfiltered Chuck, which is great.
Right. When Bob Costas did his essays at halftime of NBA games and the NFL responded, that's probably I love Bob, but that's not what NBC signed up for with Bob Costas, right?
Sure.
And that's why ultimately he wound up probably not being at NBC. But with Charles, you know what you're signing up for. I think that's ultimately what they have to understand.
I think with Bob, too, it was a really touchy situation with concussions at that point in CTE. So he was walking a tightrope with the NFL and with NBC, which is a rights holder to the #1 product in America.
Yeah.
Either way, I hope that something gets figured out because that's one of my favorite shows out there. And I really hate seeing it being torn apart in this way.
It's a shame. It really is. And it's such a great show. And everything comes to an end, right? But it's a shame that, like Charles said, those people are fools. And I mentioned to you guys during the break, it's a difference of $300 million a year over the course of 8 years, $2.8 billion versus $2.5 billion. If you're Turner, why not just pay the extra $300 million a year? It sounds like a lot to us, but it's not to them.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. But you still get to have this show, and you get all the ancillary benefits of having the NBA and this show on your network.
I've always felt like if you have live programming, you're able to promote your movies, you're able to promote your shows. To your point, Randy, you got a vehicle. Let's say you turn the TV off at night. You wake up the next day, you turn it on. It's on TNT. You might be intrigued with what's on. You stay there. There's some positives to having that for sure.
Oh, why do you think on all the local TV channels they always put like their biggest stories or packages if they have a game on and they know that they have local programming right afterwards? They're putting like their biggest story right there,
right
as soon as the game is over with.
Yeah. By the way, John Kioski, our general manager, was in studio just a few minutes ago, and he has soundly rebuffed our request of $2.5 billion.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys heard that.
And I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit.
Coming up, we're going to head down the stretch with Rocc Roll here on 101 ESPN. Have you ever heard of the Ring doorbell? Of course you have. Well, the guy who invented the Ring doorbell, Jamie Siminoff, has started a new company, and it's going to be headquartered right here in St. Louis. And Jamie Siminoff is going to be among the speakers at the Business Grows Here event coming to St. Louis on Thursday, June 27th. You don't want to miss it. If you run a fast-growing business here in St. Louis, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to know. Now, why St. Louis? Well, because NetSuite knows St. Louis is a hub for entrepreneurs with forward-thinking founders, a top talent pool, and a pro-business leadership. You can apply to attend the business event of the year taking place at Union Station at the Union Station Hotel on Tuesday, June 27th. Then you'll learn how Missouri is paving the way for new business growth and capital, and you can see how technology fueled by AI is shaping the way we grow and run our businesses. And you'll be inspired by business leaders like Jamie Siminoff. NetSuite by Oracle Business Grows Here. It is free to attend if you qualify. You can apply right now because seats are going quickly. Block out your calendar for Thursday, June 27th. Apply at netsuite.com/Missouri. That's NETSUITE, netsuite.com/Missouri.
I want to rock! And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Any of our fabulous interviews today, all you need to do is go to our website, 101ESPN.com, or download our app, the 101ESPN app, and you can listen to all of our podcasts, which are brought to you by our friends at Dobbs Tire and Auto Center, Jay Delsing, Mike Johnson from SugarFire and Hi-Pointe, also Ryan Blaney and Bruce Gradkowski.
One other thing, too, if I'm the NBA, I was just thinking about this during the break, I would really force and push upon the rights holders to take on Chuck, Kenny, Shaq. And again, if Ernie's not going to jump, I get that. But I guess you can't force it upon them because they're paying such an enormous amount of money to broadcast the games. But, man, I would really be pushing to make sure that those guys stay together.
Yeah, I was wondering if they could get somewhat involved in that process, or at least highly suggest.
Oh, they can get involved. But the rights holders, ultimately, I would assume, have the final say on who they want. I mean, they've got their own people they're trying to promote to and take them to another level and be the face and maybe differentiate themselves. But, man, if I'm the NBA, I certainly would push it. Anyway, It's rock and roll time. That's all I was thinking during the break. I'm done.
By the way, Patrick and I were talking last night. What's the greatest sports game theme song? Is like the NBA on TNT. That's got to be one of them, doesn't it?
Dun, 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 dun. Monday Night Football.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
How about, I always seem to find myself humming the Sunday Night Football song. So, I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah, I like that one.
It's always football for me.
I like watching it. I know that.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football song.
Will we get copyrighted for this?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah. Don't do that.
Uh-oh. Sorry to ruin your fun, Randy. I was just thinking about that. I didn't want to lose the YouTube video.
Dang it, Randy.
It's still going.
Sorry. It's not anymore. Hold on. Let me see if I can find something else.
That's also copywritten?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's time for rock and roll.
So I just want to let Randy roll.
Is that the rock and roll?
Yeah, no rocks on this road. Just let Randy roll.
Oh, here we go. It comes right up.
I think the ESPN hockey one is pretty famous as well. I like that one.
It is. It's great.
What are you trying to do here?
What are you doing?
This is.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, YouTube. I did. Yeah, I did. What do you want from me? That's what I'm supposed to do. Oh, Matt did his job.
How does YouTube know is my question.
I'll just say the word algorithm and roll with it.
This week in baseball, maybe?
Oh, that's a good doot, 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 doot. I remember that.
Unless John Facenda starts talking at some point in the middle of the song, it's not the best.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
The best.
It's time for
NFL
rock
films are always the best.
Roll, yeah.
I don't know if is this. I think this might be rock and roll.
Yeah, sure. That's all I had, everybody. Sorry. There is some news on City Front. They are obviously
You're
playing a
kidding me.
game
You're gonna go
this
City.
weekend. Why wouldn't I?
I just...
Have we talked about it yet today?
You go City every day.
Well, do we? I mean, if there's news, do you want me to not? Well,
I'm giving you a compliment.
Let's dive into another Cardinals topic, ladies and gentlemen.
Take a compliment. Enjoy it.
So, the news from across the pond yesterday, mainly one of my favorite sources. He's always on top of the MLS, especially when it comes to reporting from Germany. That's Manuel Veth. He was reporting last night, sources saying that Cedric Tuchert, all for City, almost done. All parties now optimistic that the forward will sign with the club. He would arrive as a free agent from Hannover 96, where his deal will expire on July 1st, 2024. There are also multiple publications in Germany. If you translate the tweet that said he has already signed the contract, City just hasn't announced it yet. Like they're saying that he literally put pen to paper. And again, we talked 2 days ago that he apparently was at least had somebody sending him photos from St. Louis if he wasn't taking them directly, because there was an Instagram photo of him taking a shot from down near the arch.
A lot of people downtown take a shot, but
Jesus Christ.
Randy.
What?
No. Stop.
Why doesn't Marco Royce's wife want to live here?
I knew you were going to gear up for something. You were just waiting for some opportunity.
So Manny is, what's his last name?
Cedric Tuchert.
Oh, Cedric Tuchert. Okay.
Piddles is
if he's
coming up.
really good, his nickname will be?
Cedric the Entertainer.
Thank you.
I'm just waiting for...
that just happened.
I'm ready for a wet T-shirt party.
Rangers, Panthers tonight.
You were just firing
That's not the only. That's not the only news. Manuel Veth also was reporting that they are looking at another. They are looking at a Borussia Dortmund product.
Barista. We need more baristas in St. Louis.
Not Marco Royce.
He's trying to do his soccer segment.
It doesn't matter. Just let him roll. This makes it better. They're also apparently looking at a center back from Borussia Dortmund whose name is Antonios Papadopoulos. And listen here, I don't care what level of player he is. I don't care what position he plays. Nope. I don't care if he doesn't fit into the scheme or your budget. I only care about being able to talk about a guy with the last name Papadopoulos on a regular basis. That's all I care about.
He needs to come here. He needs to meet a St. Louis girl, and they need to have a big fat Greek wedding.
Dan.
I'm just listening. I'm taking it all in.
And what are you taking in right now at this moment? What are you observing?
I'm guessing that his nickname will be Pops.
I just don't waste that good of a name. Say the full thing. It's Papadopoulos every time. I just can't wait to hear.
Does it even need a nickname? Because it sounds like a nickname
it's
in
just
itself.
Papadopoulos. That's all you need. And also, there was also reporting yesterday that they're talking to a center midi / center back from Australia named Jake Gerwood-Reich. So Luch Pfannenstiel is all over the planet except for France, apparently, looking for talent for St. Louis City. Looks like they've already signed a center forward. It looks like they're trying to sign center back / center middies.
Papadopoulos.
So they're improving the spine of the team, Randy, and getting names like Papadopoulos, which is honestly the more important part. I don't care about Cedric Tuchert, who's got like 50 goals in second Bundesliga and is a very solid.
What's his other name?
Cedric the Entertainer.
But aside from, we're gonna have a
wet toy shirt party.
Yep, there you go.
No. What did this segment turn into?
It's rock and roll, baby.
Dan is already packing up. I'm packing up over here, too.
Rock and roll. Yeah.
What in the world just happened
And they
here?
say we don't take our soccer talk seriously on this show.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
We've got a balloon party with T-Mac and T-Mac is here today, right?
Yes.
T-Mac he's playing hurt today, apparently.
What's wrong with him?
Proud of him.
Yeah, I was listening. He said he didn't feel well.
He didn't feel well. Yeah. Which is what I do whenever I'm on
I had
the
a
show.
10 o'clock hour. I had a 10 o'clock hour partially planned just in case.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So they're going to have a balloon party, and then BK and Ferrario are at Circa Sports Illinois on behalf of Circa Sports Illinois are at Max Downtown in Alton. You can come watch the biggest rivalry in baseball as the Cards take on the Cubs. But those guys are going to be there actually tomorrow from 5 to 7 and then or tonight from 5 to 7, and today from 4 to 6. But they're also going to have a show here today, BK and Ferrario, later on. So we're looking forward to that.
George Papadopoulos, was that Webster's dad's name?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Papadopoulos rings a bell for me.
Me too.
Seriously.
Yeah, me too.
I can't put my finger on it
I
yet.
love that name.
Webster's dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocc. Thank you, sir.
Papadopoulos.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes, I did.
Sure.
Yes. Why are you saying that?
Because you told me a story and I might have had an unsavory response.
Yeah, it was a little too soon. We definitely can't repeat that story. Let's please not repeat that
Okay,
story.
we won't.
It was not. It was too soon.
It was a little hasty.
Oh. All right.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Danny Mac, you're the king, brother.
Oh, no, you are.
Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Everybody going to barbecue? Thanks.
Woo!
Yep. Thanks to Mike Johnson. Go listen to that again and learn how to make the perfect burger. You know what? I'll put that on the socials. I'll put that on my. Should I put it on the Facebook, the FaceTube?
On the Facetune?
Yeah, I'll put it on the FaceTube.
I thought you said Facetune. I was like,
FaceTube.
why would you put it?
I think Belichick calls it FaceTube.
Does he really?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. And for all of us, don't just have a great weekend. Have an American weekend.
Bring your ass.
Hey, if you're in the market for